Kid-Lee, and we're going to have a really good time today.
Absolutely. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is actually going to be Bioware Influencer Q&A number 3. We've done 3 of these now. But yeah, we're going to get into all of your questions. And so as SWTORista just said, go ahead and feel free to ask anything that you might want answered. We can show you stuff in-game, and we'll be doing some giveaways along the way. Now, to kick this thing off, what I want to do is I actually want to start with a question of my own as I kick in the in-game sound here real quick, just for a little bit of ambience. So the question I have for you, and I don't think I've ever heard this story, how did you get into SWTOR and how did you get into YouTube?
Like many people who are playing Star Wars The Old Republic, I originally fell in love with the era by playing Knights of the Old Republic, the very old game. How I got into that game is actually a funny story of its own. I was a lot younger than I am now, and I got some birthday money, and I decided to go to a GameStop. Yes, an actual physical game store that sold games in boxes. I don't think I've been to one for a very long time. And I picked up Lego Star Wars, and I thought it'd be so cool. Well, turns out when I got home and tried to install Mr. Lego Star Wars, my computer was not nearly good enough to even be able to open the game. So we brought it back, and I was so disappointed. No birthday present for SWTORista. And I saw some other random Star Wars game on the shelf and grabbed it. And that is how I found Knights of the Old Republic. I'm really happy I did. I don't think I would have ever gone into any of this without that. And just been playing for a long time, lots of Star Wars games ever since I was young. My dad used to play them too. And getting into video games or video making was a very different story. I never thought I'd be doing this, especially not when I started playing Star Wars The Old Republic. I've always been the kind of person to make guides, write little stories, share different stuff about the game. I don't usually play solo when it comes to MMOs or online games. But I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts is UtiniCast, and someone wrote in to UtiniCast saying, could you guys please do a little more content for new players? Because both of the hosts of that show have been playing forever. They're one of the older podcasts. They cover lots of news and lots of stuff that's going on in the game right now. But since they've had over 100 episodes, they didn't cover as much newer stuff. And I said, hey, I bet that's something I could do. I'm not a genius at this game. I'm not the best player in the world. I couldn't even tell you my rotation for my trooper right now, but I do know a lot about how to explain things to people in ways that they understand. So I decided to take a crack at it, and I sent them an audio file where I went on their show live and just told people about various topics. And I said, hey, these would actually be pretty good as part of a video series. And I had some free time at the time, so I learned how to video edit, and here we are.
Cool. So your big series that you do for helping out new players, what is that series called?
And that is the Academy, and many of you who are in this channel might already know about it. For those of you who don't, it's a series focused on the basics of Star Wars The Old Republic in a video format, and I try to explain just enough to get you started into whatever that content is, like where you can get started in it, some basic tips and tricks, why you can do it, what's the benefit of it. But it's not as detailed as a guide as you might find on Dolphy, so it usually is only as short as anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes or so.
So at any point here, for those of you who are watching on Twitch, if you want to ask us any questions, definitely feel free to do so. As we're kind of just chatting here, we'll try and grab those, and if you see anything you want to answer, go ahead and do so. I see a couple that are kind of popping up on screen there.
Yes, new Master Choco wants to know, Kid-Lee, what character are you playing on the screen right now?
This would be my Imperial Agent. It's a sniper.
Mango wants to know why I sound different. I am on my phone, not on my beautiful microphone that I use for recording audio normally.
I think Kel wants to see you in a raid.
Yeah. I'm so sad. I actually used to raid definitely every week, and then sometimes more than that with my guild, but my schedule changed and I haven't been able to for quite a while. I'm hoping to get into the gods of the machine operation with my guildmates sometime in the near future. Not, I finally finished IOCath. I literally just finished IOCath last night and ran the Umbara Flashpoint too.
Star Wars Rocks wants to know how he can sign up on the forums. Are you talking about just simply being able to write posts on the forums? If so, you should already be able to do that. You just go to the SWTOR website and you just log in with the same information you use to log into the game, and that should give you full access. If you're looking for something a little bit different, you'll have to tell us what you're looking for.
Papalavan wants to know why you gotta make the stream at 8 a.m., fam. Because this is almost Saturday morning SWTOR, and it's something that Kid-Lee does almost every week. Not exactly at this time, right, Kid-Lee? When do you normally run Saturday morning Star Wars: The Old Republic?
Usually starts at about 9:30 a.m. Central.
Where we are having a happy early stream. Good morning and good afternoon.
Yeah, we should rename this to Coffee with Kid-Lee and Swtorista. That'd be our new radio morning show thing.
Dashy Pegasus wants to know, what was both of your opinions on the new Flashpoint? And we are going to be very careful and be spoiler-free for this stream, because we know not all of you have had a chance to play the new content, and we know not all of you are even subscribed, so you may not even get to play it for quite a while. So Kid-Lee, did you get to run the new Flashpoint yet?
I have. I've run it once in story mode, and then I attempted to run it in a group as well, but that did not go so well. For those who don't know, I'm actually a huge fan of Flashpoints. It might be my favorite content in the game. I think the overall design of the Flashpoint is really good, but right now it's kind of buggy, especially when you're trying to run it with a group. I think in the story mode it's actually okay, but yeah, in the group mode we ran into some bugs that made it really, really hard to even finish it. And in fact, we couldn't even finish it. I've actually heard other people saying that they've tried to pug it for like 2 hours and couldn't even get it done.
Wow. So we're hoping that in the next patch they'll have some upgrades for that Flashpoint and everyone can enjoy it a lot better, huh?
Yeah, and I think I saw somebody in chat was saying something about the lag, and I've also had that issue. Because that Flashpoint is... Yeah, that Flashpoint is split into what I would call 2 different sections. You got the train section and then the rest of it. For whatever reason, that train section is really, really laggy.
Yes, that was my experience as well.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, I basically have a supercomputer, and I could not even get that to run above 30 FPS at max graphics. I would have to turn it down to like nothing probably. And that's something I'm actually going to test this weekend.
My experience, I only did the story mode version so far. I was hoping to try it out with the group later, but I'm thinking I might just wait until they have all the bugs worked out and work on the lag a bit. But the train scene actually gave me a bit of motion sickness, so I have unpopular opinions about that specifically. But it was a very interesting idea, definitely something they've never tried before, so kudos for them to make something new for the game that's really, really never been done before. And I really liked the ground portion of the Flashpoint. I especially like that they wrote a short story about the Flashpoint before it came out. It really gave a lot of context to a lot of the creatures on the ground. I like that a lot. I like seeing the Vixie and Mala in action.
I see Mox had a question for you. He was wanting to know what your favorite faction was.
Favorite faction? Obviously the Hutt Cartel. That's how I make my money. No, I'm a true Republic player. I am a huge fan of the underdog, and the Republic always seems to be that. The Sith are super awesome and powerful, but the Republic is mostly the good guys. I'm not quite sure if I can still call them that after everything that's happened, but they are the people who at least don't support slavery, so Republic side for me. I will say though, the Imperial faction has a lot of the cooler animations and better armor though.
New Master Choco was saying the stream's a little laggy. If you can, try and reduce the quality setting and see what that does for you.
Keladorn is asking jokingly, if we take you into Dread Palace hard mode, will you roleplay the event for us? And that is a fun question, because roleplay during an operation is actually very, very hard, or even a Flashpoint, just any group event where you're supposed to kind of be moving forward. I did in my guild a few Flashpoints in character, and it was pretty fun. I was roleplaying as my Sith Inquisitor, my first one, not the one I play in my playthrough series, and it's pretty fun actually to do it over voice, but it's hard because half the time you're just trying to fight enemies, and it's a little bit difficult to roleplay when you all you hear is lightning, lightning, smash, crash, boom.
Yeah, Canadian Bacon was saying that he appreciates that Bioware took a lot of the Umbara sort of scenery and assets from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, me and my husband just started watching the Clone Wars specifically because I wanted to watch it because I heard Umbara was in it, and I've been watching little bits and clips of Umbara there, and it really, a lot of the plants and the wildlife are really, really close to what it seems in the movie. I think Zam Zam says on her blog is actually going to be doing a comparison between the Flashpoint and the show. The one thing I noticed that was pretty different though is that in the show, it's the shadow world of Umbara is not only dark, it's very, very foggy, I guess you could say. There's
Hmm.
you can't very limited visibility, and not just because of the lack of light. But in the flashlight it's very clear, probably because we had that much fog effects, it would just crash the whole game.
One thing I'll bring up here real quick, since we've had a little bit of discussion about RP, there are, of course, the rumors out there that we could potentially see server mergers next year. And that's
Mm-hmm.
actually been one of the hottest questions that I've seen is what's going to happen to the RP community. And I also get the question if I've ever actually done that. And the answer is I've actually not. I think it's a neat idea, something I'd like to try at some point. But yeah, I definitely fear the worst, I guess, for the RP community if the server mergers actually happen.
I'm of very mixed feelings. I'm hoping they'll offer some kind of opt-out option for those who don't want it. I really do want server merges because I think it's such a bad experience for someone who's been gone from the game for a year or two and they come back and they're just on a dead server and they don't happen to know that there are actually other servers that are populated. All they see is, oh, there's only two people in this game. It's dead. I don't want to. Why would I want to play this game if there's nobody here? While as on Ebon Hawk or Harbinger, there's like 150 people in one instance, and there's more than one instance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Sorry. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. Someone asked Lady Red, where did that name come from? And that is a silly name that some people will often call me in the comments of my video, or SWTOR Central specifically often calls me Lady Red. That's a very silly question. Um, I first met most of the people who make YouTube videos or make podcasts via Kid-Lee. Kid-Lee hosted a series called Star Wars The Old Republic Olympics. And it was a very fun and silly event, and it introduced me to SWTOR Central, another YouTuber that many of you may also know. And
King of the
SWTOR
nerds. King
Central,
of the nerds.
and excuse me, SWTOR Central Austin has a nickname that he goes by already. It has 3 letters long, rhymes with ham. And he asked me, "Do you have a nickname of your own?" Because Swtorista is not exactly
Oh.
an online handle.
Oh.
Sorry. And he said, "Is there anything interesting about you?" "Well, I have red hair. Like, I dyed my hair red." And he said, "There we go. Lady Red from now on." I'm just
That's
reading through chat here trying to find more
yeah.
questions.
Okay, so Simon Parker was asking, what is Galactic Command like for gearing now? Uh, i.e., the
Oh,
grind and
Kid-Lee.
getting the right gear for your character. This will actually be something I can show on screen here.
Yeah, Kid-Lee, what is your Galactic Command level on your highest level character?
Well, I'm somebody who likes to jump around way, way too much. And so this character is my highest. I'm at 153.
So you're at a pretty decent number, but most people are shooting for around 300 so they can get that best gear, right?
Yep.
All right, so when this system first came out, it was a huge mess. The only way you could get gear was specifically through this system. You couldn't get it through operations, you couldn't get it through war zones, and this was something that made the player base pretty cranky because we'd been pretty much enjoying the way we got gear by actually earning it specifically by doing specific things. PvPers had a way to earn gear, people who like doing group content had a way to get gear, but people who ran solo didn't really have a great way to earn gear. They could kind of sort of, but in the end, you really had to run group content to get the best in the game. There have been some major improvements in that system since the game first launched it in 5.0, Knights of the Eternal Throne, and I'm very happy that they've been doing their best to try and listen to the changes. Their original goal, if you guys want to hear more about their motives, Corellian Run Radio actually did a really good interview with Eric Musco just yesterday, and they talk about it a lot there. They wanted to find a way to allow solo players to gain gear for themselves because many of us do play solo a lot of the time. Like I said, I haven't done an operation in quite a while due to my schedule, and some people just don't like to group up. And for me specifically, I am actually only at level 50 Galactic Command because I didn't want to go after gear this round. I didn't really have any need for it. But I know it's a lot better than it was. There's not as much grind as there could be because you can literally just go into operations and still get them. And it's nice that there's a way for solo players to be able to earn it if they want it. It's a little more grindy in the solo version, I'd probably say. But I think they're slowly tweaking it over time and trying to make it better and better.
Yep, so I've actually journeyed over to the new vendor they've added. So all of the T1 gear is now purchasable via just the command tokens. So as you're sort of grinding through your levels on that, once you get enough of these command tokens, you can just straight out buy the 230s now. And I have a feeling like they might add some more of these vendors, but that is one thing that they've done to take out at least some of the RNG of the crate system. And they've definitely sped up the crate system as well. They've even added some legacy options to make it easier for not only your main, but your alts to get the gear as well. And I think going down the road, they're just going to continue to expand on that. So I guess to answer the question, it's definitely easier now than what it was, let's say, 3 or 4 months ago.
I'm laughing because Captain Peters said, the best part of the Empire Flashpoint is tossing mobs off the side and saying no ticket. Caladorn wants to know, Kid-Lee and Swtorista, what are your thoughts on the killing of the beloved Bestia farm? Are you aware of what they are referring to, Kid-Lee?
The Bestia farm?
Yes. There was a way to gain many, many CXPs from doing, I believe, the Bestia first. Is that the first fight? The My Pets Are Legion. And there's a million ads that come out and they would give you a whole bunch of CXP and you just reset the fight. Is that the right one I'm thinking of here? And they made it so that I think that the pets no longer give CXP, so everyone will have to find a new way to earn it. They actually mentioned that on the Corellian Run Radio interview as well. I think people should play the game in a way that's enjoyable to them, but should try and avoid grind in general, be able to earn CXP in many different ways. And obviously this was not the way they intended it to be. They want you to run the operation to earn CXP and defeat the bosses, not just reset the instance over and over. What do I think of it? Like I mentioned, I personally don't care too much about CXP, and I know people are always going to be able to find the next best thing, but yeah, they don't want people saying, how do you play Star Wars The Old Republic? Well, you see, I go into a boss fight, and then I reset it, and then I do it again, and then I reset it. Can't be a really enjoyable way to do things. It can be enjoyable to see that CXP rack up and get all those loot boxes, but definitely not intended.
Yeah, and whenever, and you kind of said it, but whenever people find out the new quickest way to do stuff, they're always going to nerf it. Because, you know, for a while there, it was running Chapter 2 over and over, and then they nerfed that, and then there was also a time in there where it was farming everything out of KP, and they nerfed that. So, yeah, they'll just continue to equalize things, I think is probably the best way to say
it. I like this. Robbo Martson says, hey, I'm watching this during a hurricane. For those of you who are watching during the hurricane, please stay safe. Don't watch the stream overtaking cover if you need to. Make sure all your windows are locked down.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if Bioware might actually have a couple of days off down there in Austin. Because that thing hit as a Category 4 hurricane I think it's down to a Cat 1 right now, but yeah,
When they
that's
were
it's
doing
a
the
strong
interview
storm.
yesterday, Musco said, this room doesn't even have windows, so I don't even know what's going on outside.
Yeah.
Canadian Bacon said something kind of interesting. They said, I still say 90% of the roleplay in SWTOR is confined to strongholds and guild ships, sadly, or the promenade cantina on Nar Shaddaa. That's a very interesting comment. So for those of you who don't know what roleplay is, it's a way of kind of creating your own story or narrative, or kind of like a play, and you create it with other characters, and you kind of pretend you are your own character. You are your Jedi, and you type in chat as your Jedi, and you can have conversations with a real bounty hunter if you want to. And one of the problems is that this kind of way of playing the game is sometimes ridiculed by other players. It's definitely a fun thing to do. I enjoy it a lot. But it's definitely more on the nerdier side of things, I guess you could say. You have to really, really want to be part of the Star Wars adventure to do that versus someone who's playing very casually and just, I like swinging my lightsaber and killing flesh raiders. Um, and sometimes people take that as a chance to make fun of people. So often role players will retreat away from the rest of the general population versus other people who might hang out in public places waiting for PvP or operations specifically so they can see other people because it's a MMO, you know,
Yeah.
many people. And that leads some people to say, I can't find roleplay buddies. I don't see anybody role playing. And it can be really hard to first kind of break into the role playing scene. So if you're interested in role playing, actually interested, not just casually trying it out, but you really want to dig into it, you should definitely, definitely look for a role play guild because, as mentioned, a lot of people do retreat to those private instances and you won't ever even see them or hear them unless you make friends with them or join their guild.
Well, we're approaching the bottom of the hour. Might be a good time to do a little something.
Giveaway! We have some wonderful prizes for you guys today, and the prizes is your choice. I'm going to be giving away a few codes during our little stream, and these codes are even better than Bioware codes. They are a free ticket to any one item on the cartel market currently. It has to actually be for sale right now, and that could include a hyper crate, the armor that's on the front page of the cartel market. It could be a whole bundle, just any one item that's up there. So how are we going to do this giveaway, Kid-Lee?
Well, first of all, I should mention that I just got slapped across the face from Revan, and then he disappeared.
These
Um,
things happen sometimes. This is normal in Star Wars: The Old Republic.
so what we're gonna do, guys, is we have got this all set up. The first keyword is going to be the word Sith. So if you type the word Sith into chat right now, that will get you entered in for the giveaway. We'll run this about 5 minutes, and then we'll draw a winner.
SITH, the dark side.
So as we're doing that, there was a good question up above. Thank you, Jesse. Let me see if I can find that. Something about whether to sub when leveling.
Oh, that's a great question. Chat's going crazy with all the Sith.
Yeah.
If anyone's curious about what, in general, should I subscribe, is always kind of a difficult question to answer because it depends a lot on what do you want to do and what do you want to get. The first question is, do you have enough money? If you do not have $15 in your pocket or you're struggling to pay for your basic things, probably don't get a subscription. It's a luxury item. It's nothing you actually specifically need to play the game. For example, if you are a teenager and you don't have your own pocketbook, you don't have cash in your wallet, you don't have your own credit card and can't actually pay online, or if you're a student who's kind of struggling to get that ramen noodles on the table between classes, or even if you're just an adult and trying to save money versus spending it on video games, the game is really fun as a free to play player. You will have a lot of restrictions and you'll eventually hit a wall, but I'm actually running a series right now called The Wonder of Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I'm doing it to kind of rediscover the game as fresh as I can, like I did when it first started. And I'm playing on a purely free to play account. And so far, I'm having a blast. I think I've already played 15 or more hours worth and have not spent a single dime on the game. And I'm only on the second planet. To be fair, I play very slow and pretty thoroughly, but there is so much in the game to do. And you can have as many characters as you want free to play. They can't all be on the same server. I think you can have two on every server in the entire game. So you can play every story, You could play every story twice almost, I think, and there's a lot to do in the free-to-play version. Kid-Lee, did you want to finish up that giveaway, and then we'll talk some more about whether you should subscribe or not?
Sure. All right. So the winner's name will appear in chat. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. Jawa Jacob 13 is the winner of the day.
Woohoo! Congratulations, Jawa. Kid-Lee is going to message you on how to redeem your lovely prize code. All right, let's get back to should you subscribe. So while you are leveling, it's probably one of the hardest ways to decide if you're going to sub or not. It's actually a lot easier once you hit in game of free to play. And the answer is, for me, usually, if you're enjoying the game and you want to support it and you have the money, obviously, finish that first question, do subscribe. Because the more people who subscribe in general, the longer the game's going to last. Just start with that. Bioware is a business, so they have to decide almost every day whether they want this to keep running or not. And then for your end of things, what do you get while you're leveling while subscribed? You get increased XP, which is not a huge thing you need while you're leveling. To be honest, you level pretty fast, even if you're a free-to-play player, especially if you're kind of being thorough and doing every quest. You get to be able to unlock lots more things with credits. So for example, one of the restrictions I've hit is that I can no longer unlock my inventory unless I use cartel coins on my free-to-play account. And as a subscriber, there are so many unlocks that you can buy with just pure credits, and you earn credits fairly fast, especially the higher up you go in level. You get lots of little things too when you subscribe. You get that 500 cartel coins. So if there's something cool in the cartel market that you've seen and you want to get it, subscribing might be a way to get it. Once you start getting into the later game, like level 50 or the end of your class story, that's when you really, really want to look into subscribing, because it becomes a lot more valuable and you unlock a lot more. So once you finish your class story, there is a kind of wall in the game. Basically, what you can access for free is all 3 chapters of every class story. So that's, I don't know how many planets that is. That's all the way up to Corellia, and then add in Ilum, and that's what you have accessible to. You can do most of the flashpoints, except for the ones that come at far later levels. You can do lots of little quests and heroics along the way, but you can't complete all of the expansion stories. Once you subscribe, even once, you unlock all of the expansions. It's kind of an amazing deal. You don't have to buy Rise of the Hutt Cartel, you don't have to buy Shadow Revan, you don't have to buy the new Knights of the whatever expansions that are coming out. You sub once and you get them all. So whether you should just subscribe or not once you hit level 50 or hit the end of your class story is an absolute definite yes for me. You really, really should. While you're leveling, if you have extra money and want to support the game, yes. If you are getting really annoyed by any of the specific restrictions, yes. Otherwise, you might just want to see how long you're going to enjoy the game, because if you hit level 40 and you're like, I don't really love it, you don't really have to subscribe. It's not as much worth it. It's the most extended demo is what I refer to Star Wars free-to-play as.
That's definitely a good way to put it. That always seems to be a hot topic, especially from the free-to-play people. They're always like, oh, you know, we don't get enough. But I'm definitely...
Such a delicate balance, because the Bioware dev team obviously wants free-to-play players to enjoy themselves, because if they hate the game, they're just going to exit and never pay for it, ever.
Right.
But if they remove too many restrictions, people will say, I'm perfectly fine as free-to-play. Why should I ever pay? I get $15 in my pocket every month instead, and I can buy... How many Slurpees can that buy? That is like 7 Slurpees a month. That's not good for you. But so, for example, a while ago, I was not very happy with the game. They hadn't announced that they were going to do any group content for almost over a year, no new operations, and it didn't sound like there were any coming on the horizon either. And I'd done every operation. That was the main thing I was enjoying at the time. And I was like, I don't really want to support the game right now. They're not really working on the kind of content that I enjoy. I don't really need any of the restrictions removed right now, so I'm just not going to pay. So I went for about 6 months, and I'm a big fan of vote with your wallet. Don't pay for something you're not enjoying. That's very silly. Even if it's the game you used to love, just pay for what you enjoy. So I didn't, and I was using the operations passes that used to exist, and I could still raid with my guild most of the time, and didn't really have that many problems. And that's one of the reasons they removed it, because they accidentally gave too many non-restrictions to people who are playing for free. So now if I want to raid, I have to subscribe.
Another quick question from New Master Choco. Want to know if we have any thoughts, feelings, ideas on what might be after 5.4. We do know that they are working on the next roadmap. Musco confirmed that. Hopefully that should be out at some point here in the next couple of weeks. But officially, I don't think they've said anything. But with that being said, I think we can pretty much count on the next raid boss. But other than that, don't know.
SWTOR Valkorian wants to know, Kid-Lee and Swtorista, what servers are you on? Kid-Lee, where are you right now? What's your main server?
I'm playing on 3 servers right now. I would say that Red Eclipse is probably my main, but we've got Harb and Shadowlands as the other 2.
So, of the servers that Kid-Lee mentioned, the Red Eclipse is the most populated Star Wars European server, and the Harbinger is the most populated North American server, hands down. I am on the Ebon Hawk, which seems to be the second most populated North American server. It's kind of hard to tell. We don't have exact numbers. We have a couple different tools and ways we can kind of check it, but we don't have like an exactly, this server has 0 people on it most of the time and this one has 150. Ebon Hawk is where we actually moved. I used to be on Jung Ma with my guild, a very quiet PvP-RP server, even before the designations were removed, and it just slowly kind of died over time. We're not entirely sure what happened, but as soon as the 90 cartel coin transfers happened, I decided to talk to my guild. I was the SWTOR guild leader at the time, and I said, what is most important to you guys? Would you guys like to move so that we can find more people to play operations and flashpoints with? Because our guild had been having less and less new people join us just because there's less people on the server. And they said, yes, body and soul, let's go. We will lose a lot when we move. For example, we lost our entire flagship that we've been unlocking and decorating over time. Many of us lost some of our beloved character names. We had to repay for many of our strongholds, but it was a very, very good choice specifically for our guild, and we really like Ebon Hawk still. So very, very nice server.
I would like to officially confirm what Captain Peters just said. Star Wars Rocks asked why I don't have my camera on today. And yes, it is correct. I cannot find my hat, and I still have bedhead. Confirmed.
Me too. I basically just rolled out of bed this morning. Not that I normally have a camera, but today I'm literally in my pajamas. And New Master Choco asking, anyone here is part of the Remnants of Hope Guild from Ebon Hawk? Hi, that's my guild. Kid-Lee, are you in a guild?
The main guild right now is the community guild we have here on Red Eclipse. And of course, if anybody wants to join, you are free to do so.
Caladorn asks, Kid-Lee, as a loved and hated member of the SWTOR community, I have to ask this question. Is there any possible way we can get you guys to influence the developers to make operations hard again? This is a good question because I don't actually know right now if operations are hard or not. I don't know if the master mode version is a good challenge or not. I'm guessing by that question, that's a no. I know the story modes are fairly easy, but they always have been, and that's their goal. But the master modes, the highest tier, is always supposed to be hard.
Yeah, I guess the best thing I can say on that is I remember the early days of this game where we would spend weeks upon weeks on some of these bosses, and I think that's maybe what people are wanting again. But it's definitely it's feedback that we can give to them.
This is probably one of the reasons they're actually working on the class balances right now, because the better that they know what output the classes they can do, the better they can balance the operations for. So for example, let's say there's a boss and it's supposed to take 5 minutes to kill with really good footwork, really good mechanics, 5 minutes long, but you guys are now killing it in 30 seconds without while standing in the bad circles. If they don't know how much damage you can do, aka killing the boss in 30 seconds, they don't know how to give the boss the proper amount of health or have it dish out enough damage to make you want to move and stuff like that. So I can only hope that they're kind of adjusting everything while they're doing the class balances. So maybe whenever 6.0 rolls around, we have no idea if it's coming this year or if it's coming next year or if it's ever technically coming.
Yep.
they'll have a new kind of fresh wave of things. So, for example, every time we change expansions, the operations get harder or easier just depending on the new level cap and how much they adjusted those bosses.
All right,
Canadian
so
Bacon has a question, or did you want to do something else, Kid-Lee?
well, I'll let you answer that here in just a second, but sort of a poll for everybody here in chat. If you go into a new story mode operation for the first time and you're facing, you know, one of the bosses, let's say, do you think you should be able to one-shot that boss, or even in story mode, should you have to grind at it?
Oh, that is a great question.
So,
You guys should answer in chat.
so what we'll do on this is just simply do a yes or no to that. So, if you think you should be able to go story mode, one-shot the boss, hit yes. If you think it should be harder, just say no. And please.
What's your opinion on that one, Kid-Lee? Do you like walking in and getting your face stomped, or do you like being able to go through it easily in story mode?
I think it should be a little bit harder than what it is now.
I love going into new operations with my guild. This is something that I used to do. I'd be like, you guys, I want to go in blind. I know some of you have already done this. You beat me to it. It's the day of, and you guys woke up early to run it. But can we go in as if we don't know anything about it, and you guys just sit and laugh as I like run into the portals that'll kill me and stuff like that? And I love going into a new operation and having no idea what is going on. Kid-Lee has been in operation with me where I had no idea what was going on. We did the Sisters of Carnage, didn't we?
Yep.
Or was that with Sam? Yes, we did. And I was so lost, and I loved it. I had no idea what was going on. It was so confusing and so new and so fresh, and I find that to be a great experience. My ideal, I guess, is beat it in somewhere between 3 to 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is usually to try and get through a whole operation if it's a story mode in one night, somewhere between 2 to 3 hours. Less is better. I don't want to have to be stuck there forever. That's for hard mode and beyond.
Yeah.
But I don't want to beat it in one shot either. That's too easy. Oh, right. We are going to guess, what are we doing? What's coming up after 5.4? Or did we want to look at our poll? Oh my gosh, I looked at the poll. The answer is a resounding no. No, you should not beat it on the first try. So you guys do enjoy a little bit of hard operations in your life.
Yep.
I'm guessing most people are somewhere between the 3 and 10 tries range versus 1 or 2. So what do you think's gonna? We've played the 5.4 Umbara update, and we'll be careful and not give any spoilers. This one, in general, revolves around a traitor in your midst. Where do you think the story is gonna go from here, Kid-Lee? In 5.6 or beyond?
Well, first of all, I think if the traitor is actually Malgus, that would be amazing.
Hey, they have some footage left over that they had Blur Studios make for that amazing trailer that they didn't use. So there you go. They don't even have to pay for a new trailer.
Yeah. So if people consider that trailer to be canon, we know that the Eternal Empire actually captured Malgus and froze him in carbonite. So
he's just sitting there somewhere in the Eternal Empire in a block of carbonite.
So one could assume that the Outlander, or at some point during all the craziness that happened, that somebody actually unfroze him and he's now loose once again.
Perfect.
So
we'll just go to False Emperor and push him down the abyss for the 3rd time.
Although the name of the expansion that they were talking about yesterday at Carillion Run, the Knights of Kaizyken, I think that'd be hilarious as well.
I felt bad. I posted it as a joke tweet because I figured it'd be pretty obvious that we don't know the name of the new expansion yet. I posted it, new expansion confirmed, Knights of the Kaizyken. And when you first read it, it's not clear that it's a joke. I felt bad afterwards. I accidentally refreshed my chat, Kid-Lee. Would you mind seeing if there's any other questions after the 5.4 one?
Yeah, let's see here. So what's this Malgus thing that people keep talking about? You know what? I might be able to actually find the trailer and play it for everybody here real quick. But basically, there was a trailer that was done that actually shows Malgus being frozen in carbonite.
for, I think that was Knights of the Fallen Empire. It was actually cut out from the trailer, and they decided not to follow that potential storyline, but they did have it made, and they spend some really crazy amount of money per second for these Blur trailers, and
Mm-hmm.
Blur is the company that makes them, and they are very, very high quality. If you've seen any of the a man can have anything if you will only kneel trailer, that's theirs. And the one with little Valen, where she's playing with the toys and kind of goes crazy and gets locked in that Sith prison, that's also one of theirs. And so somewhere along the line, they decide just for fun to share the deleted part of the trailer so you can actually see the scene where Malgus is frozen in carbonite. And it's very, very clearly him. So we can only guess that at some point when they were doing writing and very strongly enough that they had passed that idea on to the Blur Studio that Malgus was supposed to be part of the expansion.
All right, so I've actually got the trailer. I'm gonna play it with no sound actually on the stream here real quick for anybody who has never seen this. So this was actually shown at one of the cantinas, from what I recall.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that they're bringing him in here, and then there's Valkorion. But yep, there he is. So there you go, confirmed.
Malgus confirmed. I remember this is a deleted part of the trailer. Don't go yelling on Twitter. Yeah. Malgus confirmed for the next expansion. Oh, I see. For Small Mango says a man can have everything if he is willing to sacrifice. Everything is the correct quote, not if he will only kneel. That's a different part. All right, Kelladorn has a really good question that I think is worth discussing. Kid-Lee, is there any way we can have you guys suggest to have certain levels of toxicity and elitism dealt with from SWTOR? I get so tired of hearing stories about new players in the game telling me their last guild or last group kicked them because they said they were doing badly, that they didn't like them, blah, 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 any reasons like that. And when it comes to online games, there is always going to be a certain level of toxicity and elitism. That's just the way it is. The only thing that we can really do is spread kindness like a virus and be kind to every person you run into, because you don't know what kind of bad day they had. Even if they're being mean to you, just kill them with kindness. As far as actually dealing with it, the game doesn't offer a lot of systems that help with that problem. So, for example, one of the things that Kelladorn is referring to is you will go queue up for random flashpoints. One of the main types of random flashpoints is called veteran mode, and it is for levels 15 to 70. Some of the veteran flashpoints are very easy. There's no issue. Probably a group of level 15s could do them with their eyes closed. And some of them are very, very hard. When you queue up for a random veteran mode flashpoint, you have no idea who you're going to get. You might get a group of all 4 DPS damage makers. You might get a group of all 4 tanks. You might get a group of all 4 healers. Ideally, you want 2 DPS, a healer, and a tank. But because it's random and veteran is supposed to be able to be done with any type of group, you have no idea what you're going to get. And sometimes you'll get like the hardest flashpoint in the game, and you get 4 tanks or something crazy like that, something that wouldn't be easy to do. Or you get a bunch of one level 15 character and 3 level 70s, and the level 70s are like, we don't want to play with a level 15 player. They don't have all their abilities. They don't have all their healing abilities. They don't have all their nice damage bursty abilities. They're practically useless to us, and they will kick them. Other times, people don't have patience for newer players. So, for example, if you've got a trained group of 3 who know this flashpoint by the back of their hand, and you've got one newbie who's kind of wandering from room to room, accidentally aggroing mobs because they're trying to look around the corner and see all the cool stuff in the flashpoint, that is something that might annoy the more veteran players, and they might kick them out of the group. There's nothing in the game that can stop people acting like this. The only thing we can do as players is always be friendly, always be accepting of new players. And other than that, if it's something that's personally bothering you, if it's something that's really grinding your gears, you played a flashpoint and someone was mean or not understanding or not communicating in general, my usual suggestion is just join a guild. Guilds are usually a lot more friendly to their players because they have more of a reputation at stake versus random people you find in the group finder you may never see again. Guilds usually have a little more understanding and new player ideology. You might put together a group in guild chat and say, anyone new want to come along? Or you might specifically say, we're looking for more veteran players, so a newbie wouldn't volunteer themselves. Kid-Lee, do you have any tips for people wanting to deal with toxicity or elitism in SWTOR?
Well, I think you pretty much nailed it with all your points. I believe that Bioware actually did respond to this. It's been a while since they've done, a live stream, but I want to say in one of the last live streams they did, they actually did talk about it, and I thought they said that they were potentially working on something new to try and combat that a little bit, or it could have been that they were looking closer at the spam reports and that kind of thing. But yeah, just gotta try and be nice to people, and if you got somebody that's hating on you, just ignore them if you have to, and just pretty much just gotta do what you can.
It just comes with the territory of having some type of anonymity in
Yep.
online in general. It will happen on forums. People will be rude and not understanding. It will happen in games. It will even happen in like games that are more for kids. I don't know what the kids play online these days, but they play Battlegrounds. But
Hey, wait, are you
if
insulting
you're
me? Are you insulting me?
what? I don't know what
Oh,
you're
nothing.
talking about. I don't know what you said.
Minecraft.
Minecraft, there we go. And you'll even hear it, yeah, like in Minecraft, which often attracts a younger audience. It still happens there. It just has to do with the fact that there isn't a lot of accountability. So, for example, if one of you decided you're going to be a butt and you started sending me all kinds of insults by message, what am I going to do? Come to your house and tell your mom? I can message you back. I can block you. You could make a new account and keep doing it. There's really only so much you can do to stop someone being a butt on the internet, and people who troll or insult or just kind of be rude in general know that. And then there's the other side of things that maybe in a flashpoint or something like that, someone not necessarily mean or outright insulting or trolling, but not understanding. It's sometimes hard to remember that there's somebody on the other side of the keyboard, because all you really see is like this little ball of pixels that looks a little bit like a chiss, and you don't know who they are on the other side. So something that someone might say or a situation that they might get into online is not always something that they do in real life. It's just a lot harder to get cues and stuff like that. So for example, you've got the newbie running around accidentally aggroing mobs while they're exploring the flashpoint. Sometimes that can be solved by, hey bud, we're trying to run the flashpoint fast. Do you mind sticking with us a little bit? We'll make sure you get some loot at the end too. And that person might say, oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was causing a fuss. This is my first time in the game. Other times that newbie might respond, screw you, I'm new and I want to explore. And then you can kick them from the group and not even feel bad about it.
Thank you, SWTOR developers, for the host.
Hello, everyone. And Blindside Brian wants to know, how's the stream going so far? As far as I can tell, good so far. You guys have some really great questions. I'm really enjoying talking with you guys so far. How are you feeling, Kid-Lee?
Yeah, everything's going good. Love it.
Kid-Lee, I have another feeling inside of me.
Oh, really?
It feels like a giveaway.
I thought you were going to sing a Justin Timberlake song.
I can't. I don't think this is the right stream for that. We need karaoke later.
All right. So, for those who may have just joined, what exactly are you giving away?
We are giving away something very fun. As I mentioned earlier, for those of you who are here, it is even better than a Bioware code. It is a free pass to any one item on the cartel market coming from my own personal stash of cartel coins. So this can be anything from a full item set that's currently on sale on the cartel market all the way to a hyper crate that is 24 little packs on the cartel market currently. So how would they enter, Kid-Lee?
So the keyword for this giveaway is going to be the word Jedi. So right now, if you type the word Jedi into chat, that'll get you entered in for this one.
I see a little bit of a theme here. Is the next one going to be Hut?
Maybe.
All right. Jawa Jacob said, Kid-Lee, Swtorista, would you believe that a level 16 finished veteran Crisis on Umbara. So Jawa just absolutely proves that sometimes you'll get a level 15 in that veteran mode flashpoint, but sometimes it's totally doable anyway. Sometimes you get the Bloodhead flashpoint and you just want to cry for hours because you're going to have trouble even if you're on level 70s.
Question from Mox. What is the new proper Star Wars movie order, in my opinion? So I'm assuming what you mean is if someone's never seen Star Wars, what order do you make them watch it in?
my hourly train is going by. I don't understand. Would you watch them in any other order than chronological, or do you mean in the order they came out? Like, would you put The Force Awakens? Oh, I see. The Force Awakens. Where exactly do you want to watch that? I have no idea.
So if I was to introduce someone to Star Wars for the first time, this is how I would do it. I would actually start with Rogue One, and then go 4, 5, 6, 7, then 1, 2, 3. That is actually how I would do it.
Tease them into Star Wars with Rogue One. I like it.
Because I think the main reason for that is because, you know, a lot of us grew up with Star Wars. Darth Vader was the menacing, evil badass that a lot of us remember. And there are some who think that the newer films, 1, 2, 3, kind of ruined what Darth Vader was. So I think in order to give a new person that feeling that we had growing up, you would have to do it in the order that I said. That's my thought.
Kid-Lee, can we choose a Jedi winner?
Can we choose a Jedi winner? There's currently 39 entries for this. You guys are doing great on this. All right. So here we go. Uno, Doso, Treso, boom. SWTOR John is the winner of the day.
It's funny for you guys because it pops up in chat and we're still sitting here counting down because of the delay.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody had a good question. Bane99UK asked, how can we join the influencer program? And that's an interesting question because there's no proper answer. Basically, if you aren't aware, the influencer program is something that Bioware created not too long ago to kind of gather up and support people who make Star Wars The Old Republic content. The name is really weird, and it's definitely not my favorite because it sounds like we're influencing somebody, like they're under a spell. Listen to my voice, do what I say. But it was more meant to be a way to kind of support people who make content, whether it's podcasts, videos, streamers that they like, stuff like that. And there's no actual requirements to get into the program. Usually you are invited versus requesting to be in it yourself. And there's no strict requirements. Basically, to be making content that is about Star Wars The Old Republic and isn't trolling. Like, you can say negative things about the game. You can honestly review the game. For example, Kid-Lee recently made a rant video, and SWTOR Central has absolutely trashed the game when it comes to certain pieces of content that were done badly. But you can't have only trash content. I imagine you probably have to have some. The game isn't all that bad. And I assume you have to be doing well and consistently on a schedule. The schedule part is pretty clear. They've made it pretty clear that has to be something on a schedule. For example, the podcasters release content once a week. Most of us YouTubers do a video at least once a week, and the streamers have a schedule where they stream at least once a week at a certain time. And doing well is a whole nother metric that we don't have any real numbers for. I have kind of made up my own numbers for podcasts. I'd want to be at least episode 40 or beyond before I'd even think about being invited to the influencer program. For videos, I'd probably say you'd have to be at 5,000 subscribers or up before even thinking about it. And streaming, I honestly have no idea. Kid-Lee, how many people would you say watching a stream would be pretty decent?
If you can get to about 30, that's sitting pretty good for a SWTOR stream.
Mm-hmm. How many people are watching right now? I can't see that.
It fluctuates, but we're sitting at about 90.
Oh, do we? Yes, we chose our Jedi winner. Congratulations.
Yep, SWTOR John was the winner. So Jawa Jacob and SWTOR John are the first two prize winners.
Wahaha. All right, let's see. What? Oh, sorry.
Got a really common question. What do we think the next race is going to be that they're going to introduce?
After Umbara, I'm wondering if it might be Umbaran because they're literally just Ratataki with a few less piercings. My genuine guess is that we're probably not going to see another race too soon. Basically, when they introduce new paid content to the game, so in this specific case, the two paid content were the new races of Cathar, which you guys sometimes see me play in my series, the cat people,
Mm-hmm.
and the Togruta, which are a popular species from the movies. And as far as I can tell, they didn't really do particularly well. Like they weren't very successful business wise because whenever they make a decision to develop something, whether it's a new flashpoint, a new cartel market item, anything in the game, they have to decide, is this worth our time? Will it either A, attract more subscribers to the game, B, attract more people in general to the game, even free to play to make it a healthier population, or C, will it make money through cartel coins? And I haven't really heard anything about the two races being wildly popular. Like they were cool when they came out, especially Togruta had a lot of hype around it, but you don't really hear much about them anymore. So I don't know if they even will make a new race, but if they do, my my biggest guess is going to be Nautilin because it's one of the most, I guess, next requested race after Togruta.
Yeah,
What do you think, Kid-Lee?
my vote on that is actually going to be a Kifu.
What is that? I've never heard of that before. Is
Back,
that those? Sorry, go ahead.
um, well, the Kifu, I know there's one episode of Clone Wars that's got a Kifu in it, and originally, back in the day, in the early days of SWTOR, um, and the name just escaped me. Who is the first smuggler companion?
Is it a Wookiee? Oh,
No.
he's Farm Boy. Farm Boy.
Yeah,
Corso Rakes.
Corso. Corso was actually a Kifu, and then they changed him. But when you
Okay.
actually look at his hair is still Kifu hair, and not like, yeah. So basically, they look like humans. You could maybe say they are a combination between a human and like a Native American. So they have like paint on their face and stuff like that. But that's what I
And
would
that's
want.
going to be your guess because they already kind of started it for the game. So that's your guess. That would be very interesting. Another more subtle race that we don't see very often.
Mm-hmm.
Rizig wants to know what's the best server to PvP on? Jedi Covenant isn't doing it for me. Here's an interesting story. Right now, the servers are labeled as either PvP, PvE, and European and North American, and of course by language. The PvP servers, the ones with those labels, are actually the least populated in the game pretty consistently. Um, if you search SWTOR Reddit servers, or you go to reddit.com/r/SWTOR, there's a sidebar that has a link in the sidebar about servers, and there's a really good review of a vague idea of the populations. But for some reason, uh, we don't know exactly what happened. Maybe there was less people playing on the PvP servers to start with, or when the 90 cartel coin transfers happened, they all kind of merged into one of the PvE servers. But one way or another, the PvP servers are the quieter ones. So if you want to get pops, don't necessarily go to a PvP server. You want to go to a populated server. And once again, for North America, Harbinger is the most populated server. It's followed by Ebon Hawk, but not even close, I think. And then on the European side of things, that is the Red Eclipse. And I think the Progenitor isn't doing too bad either. And if you're German, definitely play on T3 and 4. It seems to be fairly populated.
Another question asking about special events a little bit. One thing I'll say about that is I think SWTOR needs way more just general events. And not just little ones, but big ones as well. I think it would be something that would help bring the players together a little bit more and just give
Would you
players an additional thing to do.
would you define any of the events they've ever had as a big event, or are you thinking even bigger?
I think Dark versus Light was a pretty big event. But
Yeah, that was
then,
actually really cool. I was sick of leveling by the end of it, but during it was really fun. And I got to do so many of my other guildmates were working on, like, say, the flashpoints for the harder tiers, and it was really fun. For everyone who wasn't around during last summer, I believe, the Dark versus Light event is different than the Dark versus Light pop up than the one that's on Galactic Command. It was an actual timed event that only lasted so many months, and it had a huge checklist of things to do. It's basically uh, the lower tiers had things like level a character all the way to 50, and then another tier was level 2 characters, and like the end tier had like level all 8 classes to 50, get all crafting crew skills, do every flashpoint even on hard mode, all these really crazy requirements. And I didn't even do the last tier, it was too hard, but it was really fun going through the flashpoints one by one and checking them off, having a really solid reason to play 2 new characters. For example, it really motivated me to see the knight and the warrior story, and it's something we don't know if they will ever bring back again. They kind of hinted that they might like to, but there's definitely nothing solid, and it obviously didn't come back this summer.
yeah, I got a lot of comments from people saying that they really liked, the Nar Shaddaa nightlife event, and of course we've got Bounty Contract Week and the Grease stuff and some of the other ones. But I just think overall we just need more like little week-long events, daily events, and then the big like monthly-long events. Just the more that type of content they can add into the game will just help things moving forward.
The one event that I've always really, really wanted to have is some type of role play specific event that was hosted by someone in the Bioware office who has like uh, god mode abilities in the game. I always wanted to have some kind of like ball, like a Republic ball or something, and like have all kinds of stuff related around that, and have actual like staff members like man the stations in the ball, and like have some kind of crazy thing happen that wouldn't happen normally in the game, and like have cartel market ball gowns and tuxedos and stuff like that for sale.
That's actually a really good one, Blindside Brian. What about more companions that you go out and find, like the HK?
Oh,
That's a
that was really cool.
yeah.
Except for the randomness of it. Take away a little bit of the 6 hours of searching for a piece, and I'm totally down for that. Lobot asks, what is your opinion on the conquest system? What would you change, if anything? That is a great question. Kid-Lee, have you done conquest with a guild before?
That is not a question that I can answer very well. I've
I
only
can
just
definitely.
dabbled in it briefly, but the guilds that I've been in have never cared about it, so I can't answer
I
that.
I will say before I start my story that I have not done them recently as much. They've kind of fallen out of favor, I guess, with my guild. We still work on them every week, but not crazy hard. But when they were first introduced, as I mentioned before, I used to be on Jung Ma with my guild, and it is a smaller server. There were still some very active guilds there at the time. They hadn't all jumped ship yet, but Conquest was something we could uh, believably achieve, I guess you could say. For example, if you're on Harbinger, there is probably going to be some insane guilds for Conquest, guilds that are specifically focused on Conquest and nothing else, who recruit people for it, who just have the sheer population to wipe you off the face of the earth when it comes to Conquest. But when we were on our smaller server of Jungma, we actually had a shot at winning and specifically competing, especially because we had the ability to craft many weeks. We could literally have 6 people who were crafting nonstop, who were really passionate about it, and everybody else in the guild could help by feeding them materials. So it was really awesome. We actually won quite a few planets, and we didn't win like hands tied behind our back, blindfolded. It was like an actual competition. There was so many things and wishes that I had about the conquest system at the time. Like, I wish they would adjust this requirement. I wish they would make it so that it was more fun in this part and this part. But now specifically, I don't really have any comments because we haven't tried it for so long. Especially on now that we're on a more populated server, we're a little fish in a bigger pond. Not the biggest pond. I think we actually won one week, and I was really proud of them. But other than that, unless you're going for first place, Conquest seems like just something kind of fun you can work on for encryptions for your flagship. And yeah, there are actual guilds that specifically they have a goal you have to meet. For example, if you want your character in the guild, you have to meet that conquest goal for the week, and that is their specific goal in life. If you join a conquest guild, you have to kind of know what you're getting into. Don't just join it and expect it to be rainbows and puppies. That's not what their goal is. And so if your character doesn't meet the conquest goal, kick, bye-bye.
Yep. Another quick question, one that we've kind of answered a little bit before. Somebody was wondering if they can join our guilds. I can say for stuff on my end, we do have a community guild over on the Red Eclipse. Anybody is free to join. If you just hit up myself, SWTOR Central, Telly, or many others, we can definitely get you an invite on that.
And if you're wondering about my guild is a little less open invite. We like to kind of check people before they come in because we don't like crazy people. If you are interested in joining my guild, just send me a message on Twitter and I will send you all the details later. I'm on my phone and I can barely function on it right now. Oh, someone was mentioning about companions coming back. I just want the missing companions to all come back. There were a lot of missed opportunities with Scourge and Kira. And I agree, I miss a lot of the very strong-willed, strong personality of the companions. Kira, Nadia are ones I really want to come back. Obviously Scourge for terms of story relation. But the reason they have not brought them back, I don't know how many of you know this, but they were trying to bring the companions back a lot in Knights of the Fallen Empire. If you've never played that storyline yet, there's something in that storyline that causes you to lose your companions. Some come back over time, some are still kind of missing in limbo. In the game's mechanics, you can get them back, but they're not back in the story. So don't worry that you're going to lose them forever and never have them back and they won't be able to craft for you. They have not brought back some of the better personality companions because they did not feel they did returning companions justice in Knights of the Fallen Empire. If you notice on the next expansion, Knights of the Eternal Throne, I don't think any companions actually returned. Is that right, Kid-Lee?
Gotta think on that. All I know is I want my wife back. Where's Mako?
Mako's another one. For some reason, I don't know why, they made all the girl companions have way more coolness than the boy ones. It kind of sucks because I usually play female characters because that's what I identify most with, and then I have some of the lamer romance options. I can marry a bug, I can marry a traitor, I can marry a kitty. But right, they didn't feel like the homecomings of the companions were really as strong as they wanted them to be. So I'm guessing that they held off on some of the more beloved companions like Kira and Mako to make sure that they were doing it right. And they found out when they were doing the expansions that no, they were not giving them enough love to want to bring back those companions yet. So I'm hoping that they're going to bring them back in a really big way somehow. And my personal guess for the traitor for the Umbara storyline was I was really hoping it was going to be Kira. For anyone who doesn't know her, she is a Jedi, but she has a subtle connection to the Emperor of the Sith, and I won't ruin that story if you haven't played it yet. But she could be a very interesting character, especially in our post-Valkorian stage. And Scourge is another one that has a very strong connection to the Emperor, and he didn't even return for Shadow of Revenants. So I'm hoping that they're just waiting for the perfect time to bring them back instead of bringing them back early in a kind of lame way.
Yeah, that would be interesting if it actually was a companion, though, that was the new masked person, so to speak.
My idea was that Kira knew more than we did through her connection to the Emperor, and so she was doing it kind of stopping us for our own good, kind of like Revan went to do things that were sometimes looked bad on the surface, but were actually to save the galaxy.
A couple of quick ones. So, DVD Hoss wanted to know if Torian came back. Yes, Torian did come back in the story.
Yeah, he's got a kind of cool. He's got a really cool planet he came back on. If you've ever seen or played the Scum and Villainy operation, you actually get to go back to the planet of Darvanis, and there is lots of Mandalorian love going on there.
And then another question that popped up was, and this is actually an older question, this is something that's actually kind of gone away a little bit, and I've not had anybody ask me this, but they were wanting to know what our thoughts was about the level sync system that was added a while back.
Oh, wow. That's a really good question. Okay, so first off, I love it and I hate it. I love the system. I hate that it was had to be put in place. I absolutely love being able to join a friend who is leveling and be able to be in sync with them. Because let's say I am playing my Sith Juggernaut, ha ha ha, and they're on their Sith Inquisitor, and they're only like level 20. They're still on, I don't know, they're on Balmora, let's say. And I am actually still on Balmora on my class quest line, but I've been doing a ton of PvP, so I'm all the way at level 40. Haha. I can actually go to Balmora with them, be in sync with them, do all the same quests with them, and I won't be super crazily overpowered. It makes it so much easier to play with other people, and Star Wars The Old Republic in the early levels is the class story is really, really enjoyable to play with another player. So I'm glad that they made that easier to do. There's also the problem of over leveling. So, for example, I am currently on Dromacost on my free to play account. I don't even have the XP boost, and I'm level 20 something. And I think the planet's only supposed to be like level 10 to 17 or something like that. And I'm already over leveled. But it's nice to know that I can do quests and they don't show up as grayed out because I'm doing them for practically nothing. It's nice to know that you're still getting some type of reward. What I hate about this system, or rather the fact that it needs to be put in place, is that I don't want to be over leveled for a planet to start with. I want to be in sync with the timeline as it goes. Like on Drummond Cost, I want to be level 17, and then by the time I hit Corellia, my last class story planet, I want to be around 50. But I'm probably going to hit level 50 around Nar Shaddaa, halfway through the planetary storyline. So I'm going to be this super awesome Sith with all kinds of lightning powers, all of my abilities unlocked, but I'm still going to be doing the middle of my class story missions. I might not even be considered a full Sith Inquisitor. I might still be an apprentice by the time I'm level 50.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, Kid-Lee?
Yeah, for the level sync system, I think there's actually another game out there that does it better. And the way that this game does it, and you kind of mentioned you want to be able to play with your lower level friends. And the way that the other game does it is you simply click on them, say, I want to sync to them, and you just downscale yourself instead of
Oh, interesting.
everything else
So
like
it's a
around
choice.
you, you know?
Very much a choice. That's very cool because some people do like when I used to roleplay a lot, we used to go to just cool lower level areas like I don't know, Nar Shaddaa. There's all kinds of cool kind of underworld areas there, and it's nice to be able to be high level because the enemies will mostly ignore you, and if they don't, you just kill them in one shot. But now with level sync, you can't easily sneak around those areas. But with what game is that, Kid-Lee, that you can sync to?
Wildstar.
Wildstar. So in Wildstar, you could choose to sink down to your buddy, or you could just ramble through with your awesome level character and demolish everything.
Yep, it's pretty cool, and
I
you can
saw
sync a whole party together. It's really nice.
a really quick question from Lobot. Is there, oh, no, Eisen Fisher asked this, is there a guild cap? Yes, you can only have 1,000 characters in a guild. And so that is one of the reasons that conquest guilds are so strict. They don't want any dead weight for every person who is in their guild cap, who isn't contributing. They could boot them out and bring someone else in. And if you wonder what guild would ever hit 1,000 characters, you can do it very easily. Imagine, I'd say most people have somewhere between 2 and 10 characters. Pretty wide range. Lots of people like to make alts, especially after Dark versus Light. You'd only need 200 people with 5 alts to hit 1,000. And if everyone has 10, you only need 100 people. So your guilds fill up really fast when it comes to everybody's alts. Our guild actually keeps hitting the cap, and we keep having to purge older characters that people play less just to be able to allow new active players to join. It's kind of sad. They upped it, and I'm hoping that they up it again.
Yeah, there's definitely some guilds out there that have, it's like, oh, here's our guild version 2 and version 3, and that's currently what they have to do is have, 2, 3, 4 different versions to
Yeah.
get
But
everybody
then
in that
chat
they want to get in.
synced up, and it sucks. It makes me
Yeah.
so mad. The Star Wars: The Old Republic, I know it's sometimes described as the best solo MMO out there, but there's so much fun group content. And even if you're playing solo, it's so fun to be able to have access to guild chat, either to ask questions or just to say hi to friends or chat about silly stuff. Just that frustrates me. The main reason there is a cap is for performance reasons. For example, if you are in a guild right now, the guild lists actually have so many issues right now. The guild panel is like bugged to here and back right now, and that's anything in any game has some type of cap. So even credits in this game, there's a cap, a hard cap that even subscribers can hit. It's like 4.5 or 4.8 billion credits.
Mm-hmm.
And for performance reasons, they don't let that go any higher for technology reasons. Caladorn asks, since we touched on Conquest, is there any way that guilds can be stopped from using one character to slingshot groups through operations and keep doing the same last boss fight 18 to 21 times for Conquest points? Maybe make it where they need to do the whole operation. So we did touch on Conquest, but I guess we didn't explain what they actually are. Conquests are a way for guilds to compete against other guilds on a leaderboard. You gain points for the leaderboard by doing specific quests or requirements for the week. Often one of the requirements is to do an operation, but the requirement is specifically to finish the operation, do the last boss and complete the quest. But there are ways to kind of trick the system so that you can just do the last boss. You have to fight all the other bosses at least once, but using lockouts and individual characters, you can make it so you just fight the last boss a bunch of times, and people use that as a way to get points quickly instead of having to keep running through the whole operation. They'll just run through the last boss a bunch of times and get a bunch of points as a group. Is there a way to fix this? Yes, you can make it a requirement they have to do the bosses individually. It does seem kind of a little bit more like an exploit. I will say that we didn't do that at first, but over time, my guild kind of felt like you had to, so we at least did it a couple times so we could try and compete, and I kind of feel bad about it now that I'm thinking about it. But it was something that we'd already like tried to address with Bioware, and it was just never fixed. So what do I think about it? Could they fix it? Yeah. Is Conquest super relevant right now? No, they haven't really touched it for a very long time. So I doubt they're going to invest time into looking into it and making this technology so it does track per boss. But even if they do fix that, there's always going to be something else. People are always going to find the most optimal way. It's a very competitive play style. And if you want to win, you want to find that edge. So, for example, the way we found our edge was being able to feed our crafters crafting materials, and that was the most efficient way. When they changed crafting and said we can't do that anymore, then we had to stop and we had to look for something else to do. So even before the operations were an issue, people were finding ways to sneak through flashpoints and not actually have to fight most of the mobs. They were using stealthers to do all kinds of tricks, and every time they patch up one hole, people will always find another one.
Got a really good, deep question from Cassandra Strafe that we can get into here. If we could be the ones to design the next class in SWTOR, what would we design? And
I would name my class the Academy, and I'd teach people how to play Star Wars. Sorry, go ahead.
All right, I'll tackle this one first because I've already done a video on it. So here's what I would do. First of all, I think they missed a golden opportunity with a Knight of Zakul class. BioWare's already said that odds are they would never do another 1 to 50 story. But
it's too hard.
Yeah.
It's too hard, and they have to balance it against all their 8 classes, too. It's just too much work to be worth it for them.
Yeah, but I think it is possible that they would do a hero class, steal the idea from World of Warcraft or whatever.
I've heard that idea a lot. Could you explain what a hero class is? People were asking about it in the interview with Eric Musco, but I have not played a hero class before. What is that?
Yeah, and basically what it is it is another class into the game, another full class, but instead of starting at level 1 or level 0, whatever, you're actually starting at, let's say, 50, 60, 70, whatever. And in the case of this game, what they would do is they would just do a simple, like, little 2-hour story for it. Basically, a chapter. They would just do a chapter for it. So
you'd have a character, and you'd have all these cool new abilities, but you also get at least some story so that you can get attached to that character.
Yep. So here's what I would do for my Knight of Zakul class. I would split it into, of course, you've got your 2 options. Option 1 would be the guy with the pike and the shield, and it's either a tank, a DPS, or a healer, so actually all 3 in one. And then the second variation would be basically just the guy with the pike, and that would be the 3 different DPSs. But
I think I've seen a lot of people saying that Night of Zakul would be a really cool one. It'd definitely be something different for sure. I have no idea what I'd add for class. I feel like, sorry about the noise. I feel like we have quite a bit of variety as it is. We have long range guns, we have some short range guns, we have long range lightsabers, short range lightsabers. I honestly don't know what I could make up. I guess the one I've seen people request would be something like a pet handler, have some kind of like a beast master or
yep.
a droid handler. That would
Yeah.
be the most unique one I guess I could think of. That would be very different. I'm pretty happy with the variety of classes we have now. One of the best things I like is that they're not attached to specific races or genders or anything like that. So you can have a wide variety of stories, especially when you add in light or dark choices too.
Yep.
Mordantos asked, "Do you think this story is heading back to the Republic versus Empire paradigm? You both just played that last Flashpoint, and I'm hoping you played IOCAF recently. What do you think?"
I think they are definitely doing that.
Oh yeah, it is. People have been asking for it for a long time. It's the core story that people really loved in the first part of the game. I don't think we're going anywhere else. All aboard the Republic versus Empire train. But it's sad though. I worked so hard on my alliance. I finally got some type of peace going, and all of a sudden somebody wants to just tear it apart. It's so sad. No peace for the Empire. No peace for the Republic.
Yeah. Here, real quick, for anybody who wants a guild invite to our Red Eclipse guild, I'll go ahead and I'll stay on with this character. Just go ahead and send me a private message and I'll get you on.
Oh, Herald of Zildrog, says Sir Strazen. I'm assuming as a new class, that would be really cool. It'd probably be something like a consular or an inquisitor, but with some new interesting powers.
Yeah, the whole class thing, I could sit here and talk about that all day. Because
We
for
just have a stream only about that.
for those who don't know, there was actually another Star Wars MMO called SWG back in the day. That game had something like 32 classes. So there are all kinds of ideas we could steal from that. One would being a Terakasai, which is basically the Jedi killers, the hand-to-hand combat guys. A pure hand-to-hand melee class would be really cool.
I'm going back up through the chat. You guys have a lot of good questions.
Entertainer, that's excellent. Yes, let's do a
Yeah.
purely social
Yeah.
class. A purely social class would be awesome.
No combat abilities at all.
They would never
That
do
would
it,
be
but it would be awesome.
interesting. No. Oh, this is from Canadian Bacon. Will Bioware ever upgrade the SWTOR client to 64-bit as other AAA title MMOs have done? I don't know. Do you know anything more about that, Kid-Lee?
I hope so. Because we know here recently they made a change to something, and I forget exactly what it is off the top of my head, but basically if you're running Windows XP or Windows Vista, you're not going to be able to run this game anymore in like October, something like that.
Yeah.
So there's definitely client changes that are being made, but yeah, I really hope that they would upgrade to a 64-bit because
Yeah,
I think that would give us better performance perhaps as well.
I hope so. I don't actually know if it would or not. This game is so badly optimized. Right. Kid-Lee mentioned Windows Vista and Windows XP. If you are using either Windows XP, Windows Vista, or you're using a Mac and you're using Wine to emulate, please message me on Twitter or Reddit at SWTORista, and I will send you the link to the info that you need to either fix your game if it's not working, or the info you need to know about them deprecating it. I saw a really good question from Trig PT. Are there any new features you'd like to see added to guilds? There's so many, Kid-Lee. I will let you go first because I could rant about this for hours.
You know what? Go ahead. I got to think about that one.
So as I mentioned before, I was the guild leader of my entire guild for a while, and also guild leader of specifically the SWTOR side of my guild because we play multiple games. And my biggest request as a guild leader is not actually, and as a player of the game, someone who really likes to help people in the community, is to have a guild system that can be searched offline, to help people find guilds very specifically, because all the tools that I often see people request me add to the game, add calendars, add messaging threads, add more types of communication, ways to communicate. We have all those on our offline site. We've made it part of our guild process, is that if you want to join, you also have to join our forums, and that has all our guides, all our information, all our guild bank rules. We have our own calendar, we have private messages, we have things where when a new operation becomes available for people to join, they can get a message straight to their inbox and they get notified about it. And we have so much stuff like that. So all of that, we're not really hurting too bad for not having it in game. And I definitely suggest any guilds that are serious about making a guild, like really making it last, do the same. There's lots of free options like Engine, where you can have a site that's already practically made for that. You just have to put the maintenance in. The other one, I guess, yeah, Moxie has the one that I also would really like, is offline invites, because it's really hard to get people invited to our guild right now, because often most of our officers play in the most frequent times in the afternoon after school and after work, and they're not on during the rest of the day because they're at work or they're at school, and anyone who plays during those play times is just kind of pooched. You can't get them an invite. And back to an system to find guilds. I often see people asking, where do I find a guild? How do I find a good guild? How do I know the guild is actually good and not just someone talking it up in general chat? I would really like some type of system, even if it's just not actually in the game, that has a list of guilds, has information about the guilds, what kind of content they do. Do they run operations? PvP? Are they more of a social guild? Gives a vague idea of how many people are actually in the guild and playing on how many people are in the guild on Monday night, something like that, that people can actually look through per server so they can find a guild to join that fits their needs. So I think being a part of a guild extends your enjoyment of the game so much, and really extends what you get out of it and how long you're going to play it. Like if I had to say what one thing will make a player play for an extra year, I would say joining a good guild.
Absolutely. Playing with friends is always more fun.
Mm-hmm. Even if you're a solo player, like maybe you mostly just like doing the stories, just being in a guild makes it feel more fun, I guess. It's a little less immersive. And when I'm doing cutscenes and stuff like that, I usually like turn my guild chat off and pretend they don't exist. But the rest of the time in between, sometimes you're just like, hey, can anyone help me with this heroic? And I'm having a lot of trouble. Maybe someone can come help you. And that actually makes your solo experience better because you're not stuck anymore. Or maybe you're just chilling out on the fleet and you're not really sure what to do today. And somebody says, hey, does anyone want to run a flashpoint? And boom, you suddenly got to do some new content. That's group content that you never got to do before. And I will stop my rant here. Otherwise, we'll go the whole stream.
Well, it might be time for a little something.
Oh, I smell something. I smell it in the air, Kid-Lee. Smells like football.
Well, hey, you said the word. That's going to be the keyword.
All right. So for those of you who are just coming in, this is the third time I'm explaining this, so I'm sorry for those of you who have to listen again. We are doing a special giveaway. This is even better than Bioware codes that you can get. This is any one item, including an entire armor set or a hyper crate from the cartel market that is currently for sale. We will give you a special code, and I will literally buy it for you from my own stash and send it to you. So the code is going to be HUTT right now, HUTT. Type it in chat if you're just joining in. This is your first time in a stream. We are actually here live, well, about 30 seconds behind, and we can see what you're typing in chat. So just type HUTT and we'll see it, and Kid-Lee will pick a winner. The rest of the stream, this is a question and answer stream. So if you've ever had a question about the game, maybe you need some newbie help, you're new to the game, maybe you want an opinion on something, maybe you're just hanging out for fun, just feel free to, after the giveaway is over, just ask in chat. 4 Small Mangoes says, SWTORista is just trying to get rid of all our cartel coins. You don't even know, 4 Small Mangoes, what I am doing I'm slowly creeping up on 20,000 subscribers, and my goal is to give away over half my cartel coin hoard that I have. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'll feel a little less like a hut sitting on a load of cartel coins.
Well, you got to tell us, how many do you have?
Oh my gosh, I don't want to say. It feels inappropriate. Let's say I have a lot of referrals.
Yeah, I think it's okay to say, and I'm actually fixing to change my message on YouTube about that as well. It's like when you guys refer to us, we use most of that, or at least I do. I use most of that for giveaways. I use very little of that for myself.
I use mine a bit more selfishly because I use it so that when I'm in game, I can literally just do the things I need to do to make videos without having to spend time to earn credits. So, for example, I showed off all the bounty hunter rewards, like every single one for the event. And to do that, I needed to buy, I think, almost 300 bounty contract rewards. So instead of having to do all the bounty contracts or earn the credits, I could just use my cartel coins to buy them. It was a difficult task to find them all, but because of that, I was able to do that. It was awesome. And of course, giveaways too are awesome. Do we have a hut winner, do you think?
All right, let's take a look here. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.
The winner is Sir Strassen. Congratulations. And if you did not win that one, don't worry, we're doing more later. Congratulations. All right, I saw a really good question. SureStep would like to know, is the guild family friendly? And I assume they are referring to the community guild.
Yeah, pretty much so.
That is, in general, just family friendly is something really interesting to talk about for guilds because, first off, Star Wars: The Old Republic, you must be over 13 to be playing, or you really should be. I think you can maybe play on a parent's account. Don't quote me on that one, but they're still responsible for anything you do. So for in our guild, my guild, the absolute minimum is you must be at least 13, though we kind of prefer people to be a bit older just because there's a big difference between someone who's 20 and someone who's 13. There's a lot of different things going on in your life. But some guilds are 18 plus. Some guilds don't say 18 plus, but they request that you be mature. It's kind of a catch-all word for don't be a little poop. Some guilds are specifically family friendly. Like I know if you've ever listened to the Escape podcast, the AIE guild over there, they specifically try to be family friendly and be a really welcoming community place. And there's going to be a guild out there for everybody, but there are really different types. If a guild doesn't fit your playstyle, for example, you want a guild where there is no swearing, you don't want to hear about drugs or alcohol, you don't want to hear about everyone's extracurricular activities, there are going to be some. There are guilds that are based on different religions. There are guilds based on different lifestyles. There are guilds for different ages. Heck, there are guilds for troopers only. You just have to look. Don't be offended or mad if one guild doesn't fit your play style. Just go on and keep looking for one that does. And if there's really one that doesn't fit, like you have something that you think no one else is providing, that might be a good time to start your own guild.
Yep, absolutely. I need to jump AFK for like literally 30 seconds, so feel free to run wild. Be right back.
Sweet. Hijacking Kid-Lee's stream. All right, we're going to talk about fashion. We're going to talk about your favorite dress in Star Wars: The Old Republic. I'm just joking. We're going to answer some more questions. Let's see. I see a whole bunch of huts. People talking about huts. Why do you guys like huts so much? I don't know. Are there any book/comic characters that you would like to see introduced in-game who haven't already? And that was from Calfea. That is a really good question. I don't think they're going to introduce any more characters from the comics into the game. I think they've kind of run their course. A couple, you kind of see hints to them here and there in the story. I'm guessing you're referring mostly to I forget what it's called, Blood something, the comics that were released before the game. But there is a whole bunch of outfits if you've not seen them before. A lot of the cartel market outfits are actually based on the characters from the comics. So for example, off the top of my head, Jory Darrigan's that outfit from the cartel market is from there. The sensuous dress, the really pretty red one that's like a corset, I believe that might be from a comic as well. Don't quote me on that one. But there's a lot of armor from the game that pulls from the comics lore. I bet you Kid-Lee could probably answer this one, so we'll ask him when he gets back too.
Howdy, I'm back.
Kid-Lee. Hey, Kid-Lee, are there any book or comic characters that you would like to see introduced in-game that haven't been already?
Book or comic characters?
Mm-hmm. I just thought of one. I think the book is called. Okay, I'm very bad at memory, so give me a bit of a break. I think the book is called Lost Sons. If I remember, Theron might be in it, and there's a Twi'lek who speaks funny. Okay, you guys, I need you lore nerds, to help me out here. She speaks funny. I think you actually get a message from her in Knights of the Fallen Empire somewhere along the way. There's a robot planet. Oh gosh, yeah, there we go. Calfea knows. Her name is Tefith. That's who I'd like to see introduced to the game. I think she's actually alive during this time period and everything.
Okay, I've actually got a couple. And there, if you don't know, there's actually 4 SWTOR books, and they're all 4 really, really good. Have you actually have you had a chance to read those?
I have read Revan. What's the next one?
Deceived.
I was going to say Deception. That's not it. That's a class. I think I may have read that one. Is that the one that starts with Cecile having a baby?
No, Deceived. Yeah, Deceived is basically there's the one blur trailer of Malgus, attacking Coruscant in the Jedi Temple.
Yeah.
It's basically that, but in book form.
Oh, cool. Maybe I should read that one. And I think the one I was referring to was maybe called Lost Sons.
I'm not familiar with that one.
I don't think that one's technically. I don't remember if it's technically a SWTOR book or not, or if it just happens in the same era.
But in the third book, which is called Fatal Alliance, there's 2 characters. One is named Shigar, which is Satiel's Padawan, and then there's a female trooper by the name of Loren Moxla. And
female trooper, I'm on board for the story already.
And yeah, they have a great little adventure of the 2 of them. And I always thought it was kind of weird that they were. I mean, maybe somewhere in this game they are mentioned, but at least not that I'm aware of. But I always thought it'd be really cool if we did some adventure with them too, because I thought they were really great characters in the book.
I think they're trying to pull with Umbara. There was a lot of hype specifically just because people were already familiar with the Clone Wars and love it. So obviously maybe people were coming back just to try out the Flashpoint. So I'm wondering if they're going to pull from other lore, from other games or other TV shows or anything like that, just because of the kind of nice little hype that comes from fans of the other types of media. Caledorn has a funny question for you, Kid-Lee. When will you play Quiplash SWTOR edition with us?
Well, we can't do it this morning because Bioware's hosting us. And they have a rule that whenever they're hosting us, we can only play this game and nothing else. But for those who have no idea what we're talking about, some of you might be aware of a game called the Jackbox Party Pack. And within that, there's games like Quiplash and Guespionage and all that. We actually created a SWTOR version of Quiplash 2 with all like SWTOR and Star Wars questions and all that. And we've made quite a little game of that, giving away SWTOR prizes and all this and that. It's been a lot of fun. People have really been enjoying it. And so we've been talking about doing a SWTOR Quiplash tournament. And so I think we're probably going to do it at some point down the road. I'm just not sure when.
Star Wars Rocks asks, how did you think of your name, SWTORista? And I'm going to ask this of Kid-Lee after, because I really enjoyed his story about what his name means too. My name is actually a little silly. When I'm trying to think of a name that I would like people to call me for online, whether it's my character name or my account name, usually I do not take the name of the game and add Ista in the end. I promise I'm a little more creative than that. My first kind of foray into making content for Star Wars The Old Republic was a fashion site. At the time, TOR Fashion, the main SWTOR fashion site, was having some issues, and I had recently gone to school I'm a web designer, and I kind of dabble in code as well. I wanted to kind of test out my PHP skills, my coding skills, my skills to actually make things online, not just make them pretty. And I created a database for Star Wars The Old Republic fashion. And not too long after, TOR Fashion came back up. And TOR Fashion is run by the wonderful Exiled Messenger. If you ever see her, give her a big kiss and a hug, because she is probably the most amazing person in SWTOR by keeping that database up to date with all the different armors. And She focuses very much on uh, quantity and the newest things in the game. Like she literally, that is part of her projects for the day. Every day she works on the site and makes sure all the new stuff there is available ASAP when there's new patches or new data mine info or whatever. She really keeps it up to date. So I was like, maybe I'll try and focus a little more on quality. And while I was coding it, I was doing it on my computer and I literally needed a name for the folder. What is this project called? I don't know. It has SWTOR armor in it, SWTOR fashion. SWTOR fashion is already taken. I don't think she'd appreciate if I name mine SWTOR fashion. um, so I was like, hey, fashionista, SWTOR, boom. I jokingly named the folder that. And since I was working on it more and more and I needed to show it to people, it needed to have a website address. So there you go. That is my name. My name is actually the name of a site. It's a combination of SWTOR and fashionista, and it's not very creative, but unfortunately it stuck. So here we are. Hi. And Kid-Lee, can you tell everyone, how did you get the name Kid-Lee, or rather, what does it stand for? What does it mean?
Okay, so the story is back in the college days. We, as I'm sure you can imagine, we were really big into video games. Played a lot of Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds and Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast and Academy, and a bunch of those. We were also really big into like martial arts and, you know, Bruce Lee and Jet Li and all that. So when it came to making some of my first characters back in, let's say, 2003, 2004, I knew I wanted to do something with Lee, but I also wanted it to mean young. So I basically came up with Kid-Lee, which means young warrior. And then on the occasion that you actually get a last name in a game, I use the word Lexmark. So it's Kid-Lee Lexmark, or KLL.
And it's stuck.
Yep, it's stuck.
Welcome to the dojo.
Yep, welcome to the Kid-Lee's dojo. And it's kind of funny, I actually asked SWTORista to do my sub emote on Twitch. So anybody who actually subs, they will actually get this sound to pop up. Oh, I forgot. I have alerts disabled. Never mind. You can't hear it.
For anyone who's in here, I know a lot of you are new to streaming if you're coming from my channel, because I don't really stream that much, or ever really. Much like the subscription button on YouTube, the follow or subscribe button on Twitch is your way of showing support. So if you're enjoying what Kid-Lee has to say, or you want to receive notifications whenever he goes live, especially his Saturday morning SWTOR is really fun. I like to watch when I can. Press that follow button. It also helps, of course, boost his channel when people are watching it. So if you're enjoying this, definitely do show your support that way. And good thing we have notifications disabled, or this would be a very noisy stream, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Someone asked, there was a question about YouTubers and guilds. I have to find it. Chat.
Bane was asking, where can we get a copy of SWTOR Quiplash? Unfortunately, I don't think there's actually a way to do that. I'll have to research that. But basically, you'd have to buy the Jackbox Party Pack 3 on something like Steam, and it's going to come in that, but then my version, the stuff that we created, is all just stuff that I have here. I think there's a way to export that out. I'll have to look into it.
Here we go. I found my question I was looking for. SureStep asked, so the last YouTube streamer guild I was in, most people were only there to be a star with the YouTube guy, and half the guild didn't use voice chat. Do your guilds have that issue? I know in my guild we do have quite a few people who joined because I've mentioned my guild, how much I love it in my chat. But the good news is that part of our, literally the guild requirements for joining the guild fully are things like interact with people on the forums, do some group activities with people. They're not like trials and tribulations where you have to be amazing or anything like that. You just have to take your time to actually meet people in the guild. So I would say no, not really that much. Not everyone uses voice chat. It's not a requirement for our guild, but most people are in general just friendly and willing to talk either in chat or voice chat. Do you ever have that issue, Kid-Lee?
Yeah, sometimes. But yeah, I mean, this guild in particular that we're kind of messing around with, you know, we do have a Discord as well. So yeah, everybody's sort of free to, you know, get on and do whatever they want. You know, whether or not they want to use voice or in-game chat or whatever. It's really up to you on what you want to do. But I mean, everybody's really friendly from what I've always been able to experience. Never had any issues with anybody. Hey,
Oh,
Sakari.
someone's asking, or I'm sorry, but I can't, your name's hard to say. Can you show the cover of the 4th book? Is there any chance you could pull that up, Kid-Lee?
Sure. That's Annihilation, I believe. That's the one with
I think so, yeah. That's the one I
Theron.
was trying to remember the name of. Let's see. I'm seeing lots of Kepis, and I'm not quite sure why. Kepis with a man bun. That sounds like Sachari. Oh, there we go. Yes, it is. Sakari. College days. Kid-Lee, can you remember those? I don't remember 3/4 of mine.
No, definitely not. I cannot remember.
I'm not that far out. I know I sound very young, but I promise you I'm not like in high school or anything like that.
It's like a blur. Fever dream.
I had so much fun, and I went to my experience with college and university was kind of interesting. I have good grades, or I had good grades and stuff like that, so I kind of had my pick of the litter. But I was in Canada, so I wasn't going to be going to Yale or anything like that to start with. So I started off going to one of the better universities in my town or my city, and I didn't like it. It wasn't my style of learning. There was just a lot of people, lectures, and you didn't really do a lot. And I'm very, very hands-on. So it just didn't click with me. So I actually dropped out after my first year, and I ended up going to a technical trade school for just 2 years and finished a web design kind of digital media program. It was like really fun. It was something that clicked so well with me, as I'm sure you guys can see with all the crazy things that I do now online.
Yeah, so there's the picture of the book for anybody who was wanting to see what that was. But yeah, all 4 of the SWTOR books all have audio versions, and they're all fantastic. Absolutely great.
Lobot wants to know, what voice chat do you all use? That's a great question. I want to talk about Discord a little bit. So Kid-Lee mentioned his guild uses Discord. We use an older one in my guild called TeamSpeak because we have more control over it. But Discord, if you don't know what it is, a very interesting program, I guess you could say. It's a way of chatting and talking over voice, kind of like a group telephone call that people has kind of become the go-to program of choice. And one of the best things about it is you don't have to download anything. You can literally just use it in the browser, just like kind of like we're using Twitch chat right now. And so if you ever join a Flashpoint or a operation, or even just you're running around with someone you just met, it's probably pretty safe to go. If they say, you want to join me in Discord, say yes. Maybe let them know if you don't have a microphone, but it can still be really fun to join voice chat, even if only one person has the microphone, because they can talk to you and you can talk back to them in chat. That's usually what our guild does in general if someone doesn't have a microphone. Oh, hey, Kid-Lee. Kid-Lee?
What's up?
We've lost him. We had the lawnmower got him.
I know, that's why I was trying to mute my mic. Terrible times, terrible timing.
I think it's a good timing for something else, though.
Okay.
How many of those codes do you think we got left?
2, I think.
I think now might be a good time for one of them. But we've hit 3 factions. We've hit the Jedi, Sith, and Hutt. What else do we got left?
Well, let's see here.
I'm sorry. We're prepping a giveaway. People are saying there's Mando. Mandos are a good one.
That would be a good one, maybe.
There's way too mention of man buns. Sakari, are you here? Yes, he is. That's why. All right. So, for those of you who are just coming in now, we're doing a very special giveaway, and the prize is going to be any one item from the cartel market, including a hyperfreight or a full armor set. And to enter, Kid-Lee, what should they type?
Yep, so we'll go with Mando, Mando.
Mando. Type that in chat if you would like to enter the lovely, lovely contest. And if you're just dropping in, we're specifically doing a question and answer stream about Star Wars The Old Republic. So if you have any questions about the game, if they're newbie questions, or you're just interested in an opinion on something, or you want to know what our favorite whatever is, feel free to ask.
Oh, and by the way, what is your favorite whatever?
You awesome sauce. My favorite whatever is, the whatever that thingy in the corner, you know what?
Oh, the Fuzzy Yoda.
Fuzzy Yoda.
Had to bring that up at some point.
This is Kid-Lee's mascot. For those of you, how do you use the special little hand in Twitch? I'm not very familiar with how subscription and emojis work.
Yeah, basically you have to be a sub to my channel in order to access the Twitch emotes.
And Kid-Lee's mascot is the Fuzzy Yoda stuffed animal, for those of you who can't see. I'm assuming Kid-Lee is not showing you a picture of the Fuzzy Yoda. He should, if not. He keeps this little guy on his desk, and he is also his mascot. So his special Twitch emoticon, his little emote thing, is the little waving of the Yoda hand. Kid-Lee, why do you always wear a hat for your streams anyway?
Well, I don't know if I want to tell the real story on this or not, but you always have to try and do something to stand out, and I guess that's something that I just chose to do.
It's just hats are just the way they are in your life.
Yep.
All right, Rodian asks, which direction should the story progress, to more alliance or away from it? So we discussed earlier that we both think they're moving back towards the war of Republic versus Empire, and they're kind of going to disband the alliance or something like that. But which do we think it should? Of the two, do you prefer the alliance or the Empire versus Republic storylines, Kid-Lee?
Yeah, we definitely got to go back to Empire versus Republic. I think that's a lot more fun overall.
I did like I'm a peaceful person, so I was a fan in general of making the galaxy have peace, whether it was by iron fist or through diplomacy, depending on what you chose. But yeah, it doesn't make for as good of a story. Conflict always creates interesting dialogue, I guess you can say. All right, do we think we have a Mandalorian winner here?
I think we probably do. We have got 45 entries for this giveaway, so here we go. Uno, doso, treso, roll.
Oh, Calthea! We have a lore nerd who just won! Congratulations, dude!
So I'll be sending you a private message with all the info here in just a second.
Calthea was one of our chat members who was happily sending in corrections about who I was trying to remember in the various books and their titles. And when I say lore nerd, I say that in the most positive way possible. I really enjoy the lore of this game. I promise it's not an insult, fellow lore nerd.
Yeah, there's a lot of really great lore.
Kid-Lee, what got you into Star Wars? How did you start enjoying Star Wars in general? Not necessarily the game, just the universe.
I think I'd have to just simply say my parents. I guess
You were inducted.
I guess I'm because some people say, oh, my parents, they're they don't like sci-fi or whatever, but I'm one of those people where I can actually say my parents were huge sci-fi fans, even back in the 70s and 80s and stuff. And I just remember we grew up on Star Wars and Star Trek and movies like The Last Starfighter and just all that stuff.
Oops, sorry. I guess the same thing. Like I said, my dad used to play a lot of games on the computer, and that's how I think I might have even played Star Wars games before I ever saw the movies. I remember them plunking me down, trying to make me watch a Star Wars movie. All I remember was there was a bunch of AT-ST walkers, and I was like, no, I don't want to watch this. It's boring, and I didn't get into it until I started playing the games more. I liked things. I think my favorite movie is number 2, not necessarily because of the story, and some of the dialogue is really bad, and I'm not a huge fan of Mr. Anakin there, but it has some of the most amazing scenery and memorable scenes. I guess you could say there's the chase scene on Nar Shaddaa where you see how vibrant and labyrinth-like it is with its multiple layers of traffic and all the different signs, the neon signs, and the nasty red sky. And it has the scene where they go to the Jedi archive to look up the water planet where the clones are. I'm having a mind blank. The Kimona.
Camino?
Camino, there we go. Where they go to look up Camino, and they've got all the like glowing blue holo records and stuff like that. And it just has a lot of, it has more beautiful Naboo, and just so many scenes that really stuck in my mind as places I would love to visit when I was older. Maybe I didn't quite recognize at the time that they're not places you could actually go to, but we can kind of visit them in games like this, and in roleplay, and in books, and in artwork. So just really, really nice atmosphere. I love the universe, and I'm always a big fan of magic existing in a technological world. So the Jedi basically have magic. They can do things with their minds
Yep.
that can't be replicated by technology. But then there's also all the people here who rely on technology. That's why I decided to play a trooper as my main class. Before the game came out, I was deciding, what do I want to be? I want to be a person who relies on technology and pure determination and personal strength in a world where there's people who can shoot lightning out of their fingers. She's only got what exists normally in the world, and she would be a solid rock even when there's crazy force stuff going on around her. Igans wants to know, are you guys going to play something together later? And I am unfortunately actually on my cell phone talking to Kid-Lee right now. We started this stream at 8 a.m. my time, and everybody in my house is sleeping. I actually have a very big family. I like them a lot, but we can't always use the computers when everybody's still sleeping. So probably not going to be joining Kid-Lee today. If we were doing this later, I would have joined him in the video too.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some streams down the road where I will actually stream, doing PvP or ops or something. We normally do a couple of SWTOR streams a week. I don't know if there'll be one tomorrow or not, but definitely Monday. I think there is going to be another stream yet today, but I think it's probably going to be a different game.
Papa Van has a kind of interesting point where we're talking about Republic and Empire and the Alliance. They said, Knights of the Eternal Alliance, everyone versus Alliance. And that's actually an option. We've kind of been, in the newer storylines, the Alliance has kind of been banging their head against both the, either very specifically the Republic or the Empire, depending on what you choose. And I can't imagine that even the faction you do choose, you can kind of butt heads with them. So that is a definitely a possibility, especially because we have a traitor and we seem to have some type of outside force who's also working against us. So who knows? It could be Alliance versus everyone. Heck, it could be Alliance versus the Cool versus the Republic versus the Empire, all out Smash Brothers brawl style. This is kind of a fun idea. Starry Saber says, how about giving bounty hunters and smugglers the option to be either Republic or Imperial? Because obviously the Jedi have to be on the Republic side, the Sith have to be on the Imperial side, Sith agent obviously has to be on the Sith side, and Trooper is, pretty strongly Republic aligned, but both the bounty hunter and the smuggler are both kind of ones that could go either way. Like the smuggler might like all the illicit stuff that the Imperials like to smuggle, and the bounty hunter, well, we have the whole bounty event. There's obviously Republic aligned bounty hunters.
Mm-hmm.
It would be really hard to implement in game because, for example, when you are, I don't know how hard it would be. You'd have to change a lot of the cutscenes, though, because I imagine even in the end, a lot of the cutscenes rely on the fact that you're in the Empire. Like, for example, if you're on the Bounty Hunter, one of the first scenes is you can literally kill some kid's dad in a spaceport. And it's like, oh my god. Like, that's not going to fly on the Republic side. I know you can get away with lots of stuff on the Empire side if you have money or power, but Republic's a little more law-oriented. Your quest would end real fast if you chose that on the Republic side in front of all those other people. Maybe not on Nar Shaddaa. Maybe you could get away from it in Nar Shaddaa.
Yeah. When it comes to the trooper, I always thought the idea of having a Sith trooper, which, you know, that is a thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool too.
There's actually that moment in, you know, early on in the trooper storyline where you find out that Havoc Squad is betraying you. They could, in theory...
Spoilers! That's like the best part of the trooper story. You're horrible.
If you haven't it's like a 5-year spoiler.
If you haven't played the trooper story, it's not necessarily one of the best regarded stories, but I absolutely love the first act. Like, if you're bored one day, just pick up the trooper and play at least the first planet, because it has so many good and bad, just lots of feelings attached to it. It's really fun. Sorry, go ahead, Kid-Lee.
Okay, so there may or may not be a part in the trooper storyline where somebody may or may not betray you, but they could actually put in a thing there where you say, you know what, I agree with you guys. I'm actually going to
join them.
I'm going to go with you.
Oh my god.
And then so from there, it actually switches over. Your next planet is then Drummond Koss instead, and you're doing stuff.
That'd be so cool. And you're like helping them like take down the Republic, and that's who the traitor is, obviously.
You are the traitor. Plot twist.
I thought that's what the plot twist was going to be. I thought it was going to be like your own character talking in their sleep or something stupid like that. Oh, Four Small Mangoes would like to point out some lore. Hutta is not an Imperial planet. That is correct. It is the Hutt's planet.
Yep.
But it is on the Imperial side of the story. SureStep would like to know, can you please give guild info, please? Again, for the community guild.
Yep, so once again, we are on the Red Eclipse Empire side. If anybody just wants to shoot me a whisper, I'll be glad to invite you to the guild.
And yes, right now we're not specifically doing anything in game because we're focusing on your guys' chat. If we had decided to do a flashpoint or something like that, we would not be able to answer this amount of questions. So right now we're just hanging out, and Kid-Lee has the game open. So if you guys ever ask about anything in game, he can actually show it. I promise you, he actually normally does play the game. He doesn't just sit here and answer chat. He does both.
Actually, we normally just dance for about 2 hours. So.
I'm down with that. No bones off for 2 hours. I can do that kind of stream. I'm feeling up to that. Mr. Freaky Noodle says Imperial Agent is the best, and yes, the Imperial Agent is widely regarded as the best written story in the game. There's no actual best because they're all going to be up to your opinion and your experience and what you enjoy. For example, someone who the Consular is usually regarded as the the most boring, I guess, the slowest story, but anyone who really loves lore might really like the Consular story, and anyone who likes the kind of the Jedi who focuses on diplomacy and the secrets of the Force and archaeology and stuff like that might really like the healing, might like the Jedi Consular story a lot, and it might be their favorite.
Yeah, and one thing that I've always said on that is, for someone who's jumping into this game for the first time and they look at that screen and they don't know what to do, you know, if you're looking for that classic Jedi tale, you know, stories like, you know, Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy and stuff, you'll want to go with the Jedi Knight. If you're looking for the classic Sith tale, you'll go with the Sith Warrior. If you're looking for something completely different, you know, you look at the Bounty Hunter, the Agents, the Smuggler, the Trooper, that kind of thing. If you're looking at, well, you still want to be a Force user of some description, but maybe you're looking for something a little different, that's when you go with, like, the Consular or Inquisitor or something along those lines.
Kid-Lee, do you think Bioware will incorporate a permanent choice where you could switch factions? Where you could see a Jedi join the Empire or an agent join the Republic as example? And that was from Canadian Bacon.
Unfortunately not. It'd be too complex for them to...
It would be awesome!
It would be awesome, definitely, but I think it'd be too complex for them to do.
It would. It would be really complicated because as you play the game, for anyone who's doesn't really know how video games work. As you play the game, there's lots of variables that are saved to your character. Every time you make an important decision, it's saved to your character. Every time you romance a character, gets saved to your character. And all these little tiny variables, there's probably over 1,000 that are saved by the time you hit level 70 and the end of the stories that you play. Maybe even over 2,000. I have no idea. And the amount of variables that they'd have to play with to do that would be crazy. And the chances of something going wrong are also very high.
Well, quick question for you. Do you want to wrap this thing up at the bottom of the hour, or do you want to go another full hour?
I am very happy to stay if you are. I'm having a lot of fun. Chat is very, very good.
Okay, so we'll go another hour. Cool.
I'm going to have to make up some new codes. I like this idea. I say this because the codes that I'm handing out they're not, when you win a code from Bioware, it's an actual code that's like in their system, and when you put it in, it knows exactly what it should do. My codes are just literally made up, and I'm going to go, if you win something, I'm going to go on the cartel market and buy it for you and mail it to you in the mail. The codes are just there to verify that's actually you. So sometimes they're silly things, like when someone's done something nice for me and I'm like, hey, there's someone in here who's done this with me, who maybe they helped me with a quest or they helped me with some work for one of my projects. I say, hey, do you want a gift here? And then I'll give them a code. It'll sometimes be something like kittens, potatoes, pancakes, or something silly like that. As long as I can tell who it is, that's all I need. So we can even make more codes as long as I don't go broke from cartel coins.
We have the power.
Oh, we were talking earlier about the Republic versus the Empire versus the Alliance versus the cool. Draco points out that you have been told that the galaxy's resources are becoming hard to get, so all could go to war with each other over that. And that is a very valid point. So maybe they are actually going towards that point. We don't know. It's nice to know that there's more than one option. It might not just be Republic versus Empire. It could actually be everybody versus everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Porcelain Mango says, it took me 7 tries to get past Ord Mantell and a trooper is just boring.
Yeah, it kind of goes back to the classic thing I was saying, that trooper storyline. It's a pretty classic, trooper storyline. And if you're not really into that sort of thing, I can see how it can be, boring for you.
Draco also says, do you think we will keep Theron or Lana as a romance companion? And that's a bit of a complicated question. The companions are a bit, the Alliance and its members are a bit more in flux with the last Flashpoint and the Traitors. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen. I don't even honestly have a guess, and I don't want to talk too much about it without too many spoilers.
Yeah. I mean, I think Bioware has now sort of gotten a handle on the companion situation, and they have proven to us that they have no problem killing off companions.
I think they're just going to kill all the new companions, and we're going to go back to our original 5 from the base game.
Yeah, because there is, and I don't know if people are going to consider this a spoiler or not, but there, I'll tread lightly and I'll say that there is...
Sorry, Train.
There is a moment in the story where you have to choose between 2 companions, and the one you don't choose dies. And I actually thought, I was really surprised by that scene.
Yes, me too. No spoilers, but yeah, I was like, what? What is this? This isn't allowed to happen. Oh, I'm trying to find it. Someone was saying it would be really cool if... Oh, Simon Parker said, I would like to see your abilities change depending on light side, dark side alignment. So if you create a Dark Jedi, you could use Force Lightning. That is something that is possibly a little more doable and than actually doing all the cost storylines. It'd still be something that they have to invest and sink time into, and they have to decide, will this bring us more subscribers? Will this make more people return and play the game? So they always have to weigh whether it's worth investing into. But that one does run into trouble. I think the Force classes are mostly mirrored with what kind of lightsabers and stuff they have. But for example, if we're looking at the Bounty Hunter and the Trooper, the Bounty Hunter power tech, I want to say, I can't remember, they either use 1 or 2 blaster pistols, and then the Trooper tank uses like a blaster rifle, the bigger one, and they can't, those animations don't match up Maybe you would have to wield the other weapon. I'm not sure. I guess that could work. I can't see why not.
Yeah, that's actually really, really interesting. I've never even thought about something like that. Like, that's a really cool idea.
Because
But
they wouldn't
yeah,
have to change the story too much. Maybe just kind of suspend your disbelief a little when you're on Tython using Force Lightning and no one's like, oh my god, the dark side is returning to kill us all.
one question I'll tackle here real quick. I've seen it come up a couple of times, and it was basically about the latest patch and influencers. So I'll just mention here real quick that one thing you need to remember is that there are more testing groups than just the influencers. You know, BioWare has both their own internal and external testing groups, and then they also have another group where they get feedback. So saying something like, why did the influencers let something happen, it's not really our fault.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. So
like if someone had come up to me and asked me, do you think this 5.4 storyline will be enjoyed by lots of people, I'd kind of be like, probably not. First off, no one asked me. Second off, they probably ask lots of people in general, their test groups. They don't go looking out for specific individuals' thoughts most of the time. Because like my thoughts are just mine. They're not going to necessarily even represent the majorities of the game. I feel like I have a pretty good guess of what most people like or don't like, because I read a lot and I see a lot, especially because I moderate the SWTOR subreddit. I see a lot of posts, and that's one of the ways I make my videos. I say, what kind of questions do I see people asking a lot, or what are people confused about, and that's how I decide what to make content about. But I could be wrong. I could be things I don't know a lot about. For example, you guys asked, what do you think you'd like them to change about Conquest? And right now I can say, I don't know. I could tell you what I wanted them to change Conquest about like a year ago. I couldn't give you any. I could guess some things, but I have no idea if they'd be right or if they'd be popular or not. And they don't. The influencer program is kind of weird. Like I said earlier, it's more of a content creators, community creators club. I don't know. It's not necessarily like they come to us and they show us new stuff and get our feedback on it.
It's like Fight Club.
Which is why I hate the name. It's like Fight Club.
We
First rule of Influencer Club.
We can't talk about it, guys. A couple quick questions I saw popped up. One was, can you do Force Lightning as a Jedi?
Sort of.
Yeah.
If you've played a Sith Inquisitor, and I think you've finished the second act of the class, maybe first or third, one of the class acts, you can then unlock for your legacy a lightning ability, and you can even use that on your trooper during heroic moment. I think the rules are you have to have a companion with you. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yes. Yep.
And you can't use it during... Do you have to be in combat? Can you use it outside of combat?
Let me look here real quick.
I want to say yes, but I'm
yes,
not
you can.
But yeah.
All right, so here, so we got Imperial Agent here. I'm hitting heroic moment. You see the new bar comes up. Boom, here's Force Lightning. Oh, I guess I can't do it, but right here is Force Lightning on the Imperial Agent. So yes.
Yeah, you used to be able to do it without a target, but yeah, you need a target now, I think. But yeah, so you can. It requires a bit of work, but if you're looking to do it for, say, roleplay reasons or just to look awesome on Tython every once in a while, it's good. But if you want to use it for like regular combat, no. Unfortunately, you cannot go around zapping all your enemies to death, because that would paint you as a Sith, and the Jedi would probably not welcome you in their order anymore, and that would ruin the whole storyline.
You can also do Force Choke.
Wonderful. And there's one of these for each of the classes, so I think agents have some kind of knife move, I want to say. The Smuggler can do his dirty kick, which is really fun to have. Trooper does...
yeah, I think it's a sticky bomb, and then there's the flamethrower.
Yeah. And there's like some weird... yeah, they just all have one.
Let's see, there was another question I wanted to tackle, and I gotta find it again.
Which companion should they have the option to kill for next? Is there anyone on your hit list, Kid-Lee?
All of them.
Just kill all the companions so you don't have any left.
You know, and you know, if you've never heard the story, that's something that they originally wanted to do in this game. They wanted to have the option to kill off every companion in that 1 to 50 story, but it's something that they ended up pulling out of the game.
They pulled it out because... Oh, excuse me. Sorry, just...
Don't die on me. But I'll say here real quick that in some of the stories, you can still tell exactly where that's supposed to happen. Quinn is a perfect example. In that story, there's a perfect spot where you can clearly see that you have the option to kill him. Torian is another. I want to say you're on Terrace, if I'm remembering correctly. There's a piece of the story where, like, Torian gets injured, and you have an option to whether or not you can choose to heal him or not. Well, if you would not have, he would have died. But, of course, you know, again, they remove that. How far ahead?
Sorry, I was trying to pretend to be a fish and drink water and breathe it as well. It was a bad life choice. Yeah, that's a really good question. Please read that one.
How far ahead do you guys plan your own content? And I think we're going to have two way different answers on this. And it's based on the style of content that we do. My answer is... because I do a lot of news stuff. Like, as soon as a news thing happens, I'm generally trying to get a video out immediately.
Kid-Lee can't plan ahead because he has to wait till the news comes, and then he wants to get it out ASAP.
Yep. So, for those kinds of quick little videos, I just do them on the fly. But for a lot of my other stuff, like, I tell you right now, I have a document where I have just ideas for videos. And I probably have 20, 30 ideas for videos that I want to do. And so it's like some of them I start and then I stop. And like, as an example, there's going to be a new series that I'm going to be doing, if I ever get it done, of course, where it's going to be like a tips and tricks series. And SWTORista said that she does a lot of rating so she knows what type of content to do based on player feedback. Well, in the world of marketing, which is what I do in real life, there is a thing called SEO.
Yeah.
And you can actually use SEO to kind of figure out what the world of SWTOR is looking for. You can actually look up what questions people are, you know, looking for answers for. And so I've got this new thing that I'm doing where I've looked up the top, let's say, top 10 how-to questions, the top 10, you know, what questions or whatever. And so I'm actually going to be doing a series based on that SEO information. It's kind of a grand experiment that I'm going to try. So I guess to answer the question, there's some stuff that I do that's just really, really quick, and then there's some stuff that you're planning like months out.
On my side of things, there's nothing that I do that's really quick. Unlike Kid-Lee, I work on more guides types of videos. Obviously, the playthrough series, I do literally no planning. I set up the camera, sit down, and start playing. But my other videos can take sometimes weeks of planning beforehand. I'll start writing the script on... I have a very long commute to my work, and I'll start writing it there. And then after I'm done writing and researching, eventually I'll just sit down one Saturday morning and start recording it and editing it all at once. But the planning that went into that was a lot longer. There's some that I even work on over months at a time. Maybe I'll start it and put it down and pick it up later. There's one I'm working on now that's going to be a really long one I've been working on for a long time. It's probably about 17 pages of text. Oh my gosh. As for my normal weekly videos, I sometimes I'll know exactly what I'm doing for the next couple weeks. Like maybe I'm covering a range of things that are all related, and I'm just going bang, 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 doing them all and making sure they get all out together. But some weeks I'm sitting down that Saturday morning, I'm not even entirely sure what I'm going to do. I kind of like Kid-Lee, I have a list of ideas, a wish list, a wall of crazy. For example, one of my recent videos, I wanted to do something. The last video I'd done, I was talking about what was coming up in the Umbara update to help people know what to look forward to. And then the next one, I was like, I don't feel done with Umbara. So I read out the short story of Umbara, but that wasn't even planned at all. So it's really, really touch and go. Some have a lot of planning, some have barely any. Oh, here's a question from the Master Gaming Dude. Do you guys know anything about a potential server merge? I heard more people discussing it in general chat. So just a heads up, we don't really get any exclusive info. When we do, we usually put it up on a video on our channel. For example, we got to do some of the operations bosses before they came out, and we got to see, I think, some of the older flashpoints before they came out. But we're not like privy to any upcoming major changes, I guess you could say. Most of our knowledge comes from just really being on top of all the different news sources and being able to find all the info and where the developers do post. Kid-Lee, what do you know about? Remember when Keith made that post about all the problems with server merges and what they're trying to solve?
Yeah, so basically, server mergers have not been confirmed, but the developers have been talking about it. And of course,
They're looking
Sorry, go ahead.
they're looking for some type of solution to the lower population servers. They don't know if it's going to be server merges or something else, but they are trying to investigate all the different problems that a server merge will cause.
Mm-hmm.
And the developer, whose name is Keith Kanig, he is the newest lead producer for the game. He is a very active player, and he recently actually posted a list of some of the issues that they have to look into, like what happens to your character cap. I think there's a cap of something like 52 characters per server. Obviously, most people don't have that issue, but what if you have 52 all filled up on the server that you're first on, and then your second server you have a 10 more? What happens when they merge? Do you lose characters? If so, that really sucks. Do you just get to keep them all? What if you want to make new characters later? Are you over the cap? What about credits? What if you're a free-to-play player and you can only have 200,000 credits? What happens when you get to server merge there? What if, and because they want to do legacy credits? What about guilds? When we my Jungma server actually got merged with another older server called Benzalo that doesn't exist anymore, and we actually lost our guild name. Our guild name got stupid and it said something like Remnants of Hope at Mitos's Arrow or something weird. Like it was really funky and we hated it. We ended up like adding a the at the beginning of our name just because we didn't like it so much. What happens with names when server merges happened in the past? That was one of the hugest issues, is that people would lose their names, and it's, I mean, they're just a couple letters on the screen, but people grow really attached to them because that's who their character is. For example, my white-haired trooper that you may see in my videos, her name is Saya, and I actually lost, it was just SCYA, and I actually lost that. I had to throw an apostrophe in there somewhere, and I was actually pretty sad about it. I can't imagine I didn't lose too many, but some of my friends literally lost like half their character names. I was so mad I lost one of my favorite character names. I got a really kind of rare one, I guess, for my Smuggler, and I renamed him to Disconnect. So every time I log into the guild, it says Disconnect has joined chat. But yeah, they're looking to solutions, but there's a lot of issues.
Yep, and there's a number of things that will happen in game before they even flip the switch on that. And you kind of mentioned it a little bit, like the legacy currency thing. That's something that will go into the game before we see server mergers. So if you guys start seeing a lot of changes like that, then I think the possibility of server mergers will be getting closer and closer and closer.
That's a good guess. And if you are asking this question to yourself, whether you are the Master Gaming Dude or someone else, when are server merges coming? Right now, if you are on a quiet server, off the top of my head, some of the quiet ones are Jungma, Prophecy of the Five, some of the European servers. And it basically, if it has a PvP tag, there's a good chance it's a quieter server. Save yourself some happiness and take that as a chance right now to go check out a new server, especially like Harbinger, Ebon Hawker, the Red Eclipse, because it is a world of difference. If you enjoy group content, you can actually get pops again, you can get into operations again, you can get into flashpoints again, you can actually find active guilds again. It's a crazy difference. I'm not saying that the population of SWTOR in general is extremely high. We seem to have a lower population of players than some other games, but it is a huge difference between the dead servers and the very active ones, though.
Yep.
New Master Choco wants to know, hey Kid-Lee, is this stream to be available after it is finished? I sure hope so.
Yes, so two things. You will be able to find the VOD on Twitch, and we will also be porting this over to YouTube early next week.
Love the hidden notes video you did, Kid-Lee. What was, oh, emotes, not hidden notes. I was like, what's that? There's so many emotes in the game. I'm happy with how many they've added, and lots of them aren't even too expensive on the GTN too. I made a goal of going to collect them all, and most of them were under, I think, 500K.
I actually had to think about that. Hidden emotes. I mean, yeah, that's an old video. Actually, here's a question for you that I'll ask. Is what video have you done that you are most proud of?
I would say my very, very first one. I had never edited a video before, and that's actually still one of my favorite ones. The general, it was what should you do at level 60 or 65 in Star Wars: The Old Republic, and it's just the overview of everything that you can enjoy in the game. And I'm proud of it because I had to learn so much to do it. It's not my best video because I didn't know how to record or even talk like a normal human being. That took a lot of practice as well. But I feel like that one reached a lot of players that were asking that question, and that's my main goal in this series, is to help people who are wondering about things like, should I play this game at all? What does it have to offer? If I'm currently playing, what is there for me to do? What can I enjoy? And that one I felt really answered a lot of questions. It just went over all the things like operations, flashpoints, PvP, roleplay, crafting, everything you can touch and play with in the game. Which one are you most proud of, Kid-Lee?
There was a machinima style video that I did a couple of years ago that is called, I think it's called SWTOR Deleted Scenes. And I think that's the best.
You should link that one in the chat. See if you can find it, and I'll look for more questions.
But basically, it was Yoda deleted scenes, and so I actually did the scene on the trooper where you are, I think it's Master Ovik is the Yoda guy.
Oh, the one in the Yavin 4?
Yeah.
Oh, no, not Yavin 4. Maelstrom Prison.
Yeah. But I basically...
Oteg.
Or Oteg, yeah.
Master Oteg.
But yeah, I basically did my own Yoda VO over top of that, and it was pretty funny.
Oh, Darkalatari says, I always point out, what about Conquest if they do those server merges? And oh my gosh, that is literally one of the like bajillion questions they have to answer. I always assume server merges were like, just do them, we'll be happier. But there's so much to consider. And they've probably got a list that's like a mile long, and they're adding more every day as someone thinks of them.
So Novik just said he's most proud of his dance video. Yeah, when we did the SWTOR Olympics, the dance video that you and Novik did were hilarious.
Can you please put Dancing with Revan on in the background while we answer questions?
Yes, I will find that right now.
That one's probably my favorite video. Maybe not the one I'm most proud of, but my favorite for sure. One of the SWTOR Olympics challenges. The first one was something like a speeder race. I think it was the second one, maybe. That was a dance-off. There wasn't a lot of rules or specifics, but I enjoyed no bones. Just reading chat, sorry. You guys are fun. Oh, Darth Alru has something to say that's dear to my wish list in my heart. They said, I would really like to see some interaction between members of our legacy family tree, some extra cutscenes like between father and son or two mortal enemies. Oh my gosh, I feel like the legacy tree system was something that was so wasted. I would love to have just some simple cutscenes between my characters. I'd love even to be able to see other characters in my stronghold, so I could put them all together and have like a group photo. I would, oh gosh, there's so much potential for that system, but they just didn't have the ability to invest in it, because much like you, many of my characters are related in some ways or another. Someone's an adopted child of the other, one is a mortal enemy of the other. Many are related by strange and interesting events in their life that can't be quite explained by a simple line between them in a family tree. But the family tree almost seems like something that it might have even been better if it wasn't even in the game, because it was such a simple idea that could have been grown into so much more. Oh, one of my decoration wish lists is that to have a family tree on the decoration that you can put in your stronghold. Oh, Kid-Lee, do you remember the elevator video that Sister Central made?
Yeah.
That one was very silly too. Oh, the Master Gaming Dude has a question specifically for me. I am currently running a playthrough series where I think I mentioned it earlier, but I'm focusing on playing as a free-to-play player specifically, and with all the restrictions that that kind of account has. And I'm playing it focusing on the lore and the story. I'm not just running through. I'm trying to do every quest, and I'm kind of talking about lore and my character's background as I go. And their question is, what are you going to do when Javik finishes chapter 3 and Ilum? Are you going to sub on that account so you can unlock all the expansions? And that is actually a question I get a ton, especially because I'm on a free to play account. Once I hit Ilum and I'm done, that's pretty much it for story. I have my options are I could, I don't know, go back and do some of the side stuff, but then I'm still going to hit a wall eventually. I could subscribe and do the expansions, or I could start a whole new character like a true free to play player would because they don't want to pay. And I honestly have no idea. I am totally waiting until I hit that point to decide, because I have no idea how I'm going to feel in like a year from now when I actually get there. Let's see. Oh, Calfea has another fun idea for Legacy. I'd like to see some additions such as Padawan of dot dot dot. So like, oh, on the family tree, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Kid-Lee, is there any chance that we could take like a 5-minute break or something like that?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna be back in a few minutes. I don't know if Kid-Lee's staying or going.
Yep, I'll stay this time since I took my break.
I'll I'll be back. Save me any good questions, Kid-Lee.
Okay.
Bye.
So yes, this is the Dancing with Revens video that SWTORista created. I'll go ahead and link that in chat for anybody who wants to actually see the full video with the sound. It's really, really entertaining. So one other quick mention here real quick. Awesome Sauce LOL, thank you for the sub via Twitch Prime. I really, really do appreciate it. Also, thank you to all of the other followers. We've had a great stream this morning so far. Thank you all so much for all of the great support. This has been a lot of fun. But yeah, we're gonna do this for about another 20 minutes, and I think we're gonna wrap this up probably at the top of the hour. Somebody was asking in chat if we have a Discord for the community guild. We do. I don't know if I can actually link that or not. Let me look here real quick. Yeah, for some reason. Oh wait a minute. Here's an. Okay, here we go. Set link to never expire. Hold on, is this gonna work? Let's, what is this gonna... Oh, there we go. Cool, there we go. So there's the Discord link. For anybody who wants to check that out. Are we going to bomb some poor soul when this gets done? Depends who's streaming, but yeah. Do we also have a Republic guild? No, we actually don't. Not here on the Red Eclipse. Am I going to bring back WildStar? You loved those videos. You know what? Funny thing, I've actually been thinking about that. You know, at this point, I've been out of that game for probably over a year. It would almost be an experience to relearn it from scratch. But yeah, it's definitely something that I'm thinking about. I'm just trying to look back through the questions to see if I missed anything. Captain Peters, what guild is this, or what servers is this on? This is on Red Eclipse. This is our community guild with SWTOR Central. Yeah, WildStar gets a lot of hate, but it's really a fun game. There's a lot of stuff in that game that's done right. You thought WildStar was canceled? Nope, it's still going. In fact, they brought WildStar over to Steam. I kind of wish they would do that for SWTOR, because generally when they bring these MMOs over to Steam like that, they usually get a pretty good bump in population. It'd be cool if they would do it, but I have a feeling like EA wouldn't let that happen. But might be something to think about. You know, and of course that always brings up the question of, well, is there any way that SWTOR would bring, or that Bioware would bring SWTOR over to the consoles, you know, the Xbox One and PS4 and all that. I think it'd be a really cool idea if they did. I think, again, that would give a big bump up in the population. The first thing that people might say would be, oh, well, there's no way you can run this game on a controller. I know people who are already doing it. So do not say that it cannot be done, because it's already being done.
My husband recently bought the Steam controller, and that is a crazy little device. I think you could probably play literally any game with that, because it's got the little scroller that's more like a mouse.
Yeah. Well, welcome back.
Hi, thanks. I don't know what questions you already did, sorry.
We were talking about WildStar a little bit, so people were asking about that. But
New Master Choco wants to know, how do I do that dance with the arm waving? That is called the No Bones dance, and you must buy it from the GTN. It's probably pretty expensive, sorry.
do I have that on this character? Let me see. Oh, I do. So here it is right here. No bones.
I see talk about cake. I'm down for this.
Cake? Cake or pie? That's the question.
Depends of which. Sorry. My husband is a super pie lover, though. I don't like cake that has, like, super sweet frosting, but I love, love, love cheesecake. Canadian Bacon. I thought WildStar was canceled as a title last year. What you talking about? The game's still running.
Yep.
And I believe, yeah, it is. There's a free-to-play model.
Should be interesting to hear some news about the next op boss. How many are there left? 3, I think.
Is it? Yeah, there's 5. Is it 5 or 6? Oh, yeah, because there's 6 gods, but 2 of them are the twins, the Sisters of Carnage. Yeah, so 3, but we don't know exactly when they're gonna come out. How much time was between the first one and the second one? Like 3 months, I think.
Yeah, I would assume that the next patch is gonna have it's gonna have one.
Yeah, so about 3 months again. There's a lot that goes into those bosses, especially because of all the stuff in the game that needs testing. The ops bosses probably, I would say, need the most testing because they have the most ways to fail, I guess, or ways to be bad, and so many ways to bug out because they're complex fights, especially the newer ones. The newer the ops boss is, the more interesting mechanics it has. Like, if you guys remember the oldest operations, like Eternity Vault, there is, in Karaga's Palace, there is some really interesting fights like Soa, but some of the other ones are just like, there are some bosses that are just tank and spank. You just kill them. They don't really do anything interesting except try to bite your face. Hey, Kid-Lee. We haven't heard about the next ops boss yet, but you know one thing we did hear about?
What's that?
We heard about a giveaway, didn't we?
Oh, of course.
I think we did. I think this is our last code that I've sent you, but I'll make some more up later. Oh, we're actually getting towards the end of this, aren't we?
Yeah, 3 hours.
All right. So, what other faction do you think? We've done Mando, Sith, Hutt, Jedi. Who's left?
Let's go. Let's go with Alliance.
Ooh, Alliance. That is the final frontier. So, what are we giving away? We are giving away any one item on the cartel market, and I will personally buy it and deliver it to you in the mail from my own stash of cartel coins. So, to enter, type Alliance in the chat, and you'll be entered to win in a random draw.
Oh my god.
Everyone's here now.
I just saw something in game that I have never seen before.
What'd you see, Kid-Lee?
All right, this mount right here. I have told the story for the past several years that I've never seen anybody in the game that has this mount other than me. This is the first time. What are the odds of that happening on this stream?
What is it? I can't see.
Come back, mister. And now he's running away.
Was it that one that was like 1 million credits way back when?
No, this is the it's called the Bloodline. And you could only get it, I don't think you can even get it anymore. But it used to be from, it was either hard mode or Nightmare Kepis back about 3 or 4 years ago.
Does it have a shark face?
No, it's not that one. It's a different one. This one is like, it's got like a flat black finish, but then it's got like these red lines all over it that reflect.
Oh, sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's a really neat little mount.
The Master Gaming Dudes asks, what games do you guys play apart from SWTOR? I have seemed to only have time and love in my life for one game at a time. If I wasn't doing videos and stuff, I'd probably be playing two, but it's just a time thing. The other game that I played the most, though, was Guild Wars 2, and I really enjoyed that game. I don't love the universe as much, and the cutscenes have a lot to be desired, I guess you could say. But the actual gameplay is really fun, and that's also another really great game to play with multiple other people. The way they have the map set up, you can unlike SWTOR, you can only share quests with people who are in your group of 4, max 4. When you're in Guild Wars 2, you actually kind of share the quest in the area with literally everyone there. Everyone contributes to completing it. I know Kid-Lee likes quite a few games that he streams on his channel. What else do you play, Kid-Lee?
I play literally everything. I mean, I can tell you right now, I'm currently playing, well, of course, PUBG, which is the hottest game out right now. I'm also working on Hellblade, and I'm working on... Oh, what's that game that just came out from Supergiant? Pyre. Working on Pyre.
Starry Saber wants... Oh, do you want to finish up the Alliance draw there? How many people do we have entered?
33 right now.
Oh, very nice. Let's pick an Alliance winner. An Alliance commander, you could say.
Alright, here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. Dark.
Winner is Dark Latari. Congratulations. Rigged. Definitely not rigged. Let's see, there was a good question. Are there any things in game you would like to craft? Example, new mounts, decorations, weapon tunings, pets, companions, etc. Obviously, I'm a fan of things that you can earn in-game. I don't have a problem with the cartel market. I know a lot of people do. I just see it as another option for them to make money and an option for us to enjoy while in-game. As an adult who earns money for herself by working a job, I understand that time is often limited, and sometimes you might just want to buy what you want to play with instead of having to like grind heroics or something like that. So I don't really have an issue with it, as long as they're still paying attention to the main game and not 100% focusing on the cartel market. But there are some items that I think should kind of stay exclusive to the cartel market. For example, specifically companions, like the kind of pet companions, like the cute little act dog and the special robots and stuff like that, those kind of special ones, I think should probably stay there. And same thing with tunings. Um, and maybe even pets. Pets I like being able to earn. I don't know if I want to craft them. That seems a little strange. Like, oh, maybe I guess you could craft droid companions. I'd be okay with that. I just don't want to craft a Tonlet pet. That'd be weird. Just cobble it together with bits and pieces of spare flesh. But things like new mounts and especially decorations. Decorations of all the crafted stuff in the game, the decorations got the like best of the lot. There's so many crafted decorations, and so many of them are actually like pretty high quality ones. They didn't get like the bottom of the barrel or anything like that. So I'd love for them to add more, but I'm pretty happy with where they're at. In mounts, I recently did a video about all the crafted mounts, and I think there's 7. Don't quote me on that, but I would be very happy if they added more to the game. But I like that there's at least 7 to start with. I don't have too many complaints about what crafting can create right now. My biggest complaint is that for some reason, I don't know why, the crafted color crystals, like including the pretty ones, can't be worn by free-to-play players. Like they require artifact authorization. So I think it's dumb that someone could pick Artifice, craft this amazing crystal with a lot of work, especially because they're free-to-play, and then they couldn't wear it.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to craft, Kid-Lee, that you can't craft right now?
Well, you know what? Something I've never really thought about, which I think is a cool idea, is what if they were to actually bring in some new sort of crafting professions, like a purely decor crafting profession. I think would be really neat.
Oh man, I would be so on top of that. As long as they don't take away like the old ones from like the other classes, but just make oh man, that'd be something really cool, I think. And remember how we were mentioning earlier, like a purely social class would be kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would be like the next best thing of it, like someone who only crafts. Yeah, I was gonna say who only crafts cosmetic armor, but we almost have that with synth weaving and armor mech already.
Yeah, that's a really neat idea.
Can you imagine that? They just like release like, I don't know, 50 new decorations, and each one can only be crafted at a certain level of crafting. Like they get harder as you go. That'd be cool.
But yeah, I mean, you kind of said it a little bit, but yeah, they could do the same thing for... You know, what they could do is actually do another one that would be nothing but mounts and pets.
kind of like a weird cyber tech.
Yeah.
Cyber tech that doesn't make any like modifications and stuff like that.
Call it like a droid engineer or something.
Yeah, there you go. Next best thing to having a pet class. Master Gaming Dude feels very strongly that we need new crafted companions. Like I said, I'm not too fussed about them not being there, but it would be cool if they were there. I do agree. Oh, Desaris says something cool would be a SWTOR companion app like we have in World of Warcraft. And I agree, they need an app so bad. They kind of like totally missed their opportunity. The best time to have introduced an app, especially for like crafting, would have been when Conquest was really big, because we were crafting nonstop. And like I mentioned earlier in this stream, only so many people of my guild actually did the crafting. Everyone else just fed them the materials. But that might have been different if those of us who have full-time jobs or full-time school could have also pitched in like on our breaks or during our lunch too, because you can't download Star Wars: The Old Republic on your work or computer. I don't think that your school or work would appreciate that. Decoration technician. I think you win the name, Sir Strazen. That's a great name for it.
Yeah, that's a solid name.
They need to finally admit that Star Wars: The Old Republic is a WoW clone. That's a really interesting topic. So when you're making anything new, whether, or in my case, it's often at work, it's a website, the best thing to do is go look and see what is working. Mm-hmm. WoW was one of the things that was working. It is still currently working, but at the time that they were making this, it was one of the shining examples of what was going right. In terms of the mechanics of the game, yes, Star Wars: The Old Republic is very similar to World of Warcraft. Because they're making an MMO, there's only make it so different in the end. Lots of games have like lots of little differences, like Guild Wars 2, like I was saying, their quest system is very different from anything I played before, and I liked it a lot. WildStar really brought in the ability to have to move your booty in fights and get out of all the telegraphs, and that was very cool too. But in the end, all MMOs are very similar. People
Yeah.
like to have things that are familiar. Like they like some change, obviously, like those things I mentioned, but they want to know, they don't want to have to entirely learn an entire new skill just to play a video game. So that's one of the nice things about having MMOs that are similar. What
Yeah.
Star Wars The Old Republic was trying to do different, they were not trying to make a revolutionary game in terms of mechanics. They have made so many games over the years, and many of them already had their chance to do something new. For those of you who know the old pod racing games, from what I've heard, there's something pretty different that hasn't been done before. And um, I'm sure they made other games that were groundbreaking at the time too. But what they were trying to do different is that they were trying to bring a uh, another pillar into the game. They PvP, PvE, we've already seen how to do that when it comes to dungeons and raids in WoW, but they wanted to bring story to the multiplayer games, and this is something that had not been done strongly before. I don't think it's even been done as strongly since, because I think they spent something crazy like $200 million investing into this game when it first came out, and I can only assume a lot of that was the development of the story. And that was something that they absolutely, I feel, they succeeded at when it first came out. And it was something that WoW couldn't even touch. It was not even close to a clone. Like there's nothing even remotely similar to them in the way that the story pans out and how good it is. So yeah, they didn't reinvent the wheel, but the story is something that they did really bring into it that was new.
Yep, and it's a well-known fact that the MMOs, they like to steal from each other. You know, when WildStar was still in beta and they introduced the housing system in that game, both World of Warcraft and Bioware, they took a look at that housing system and they said, we have to have housing in our games now. And that's when we got the system that we got, and then WoW got the system that they got, because they saw what WildStar was doing and they're like, oh boy, we gotta do something. But yeah, it's just, it's crazy on how they, like I said, they steal from each other. And
It's not stealing, it's research and development,
right,
Kid-Lee.
right, yeah,
So,
exactly.
for example, this happens all over the place. So, like I said, I'm a web designer. I make websites. I look at other sites and I see what's working for them. What do I think is probably actually helping them succeed? And I definitely take those ideas. Why reinvent the wheel for something that works? And then I make sure to add our own twist to things, something that's valuable for the customer that they can't find somewhere else.
Yep. But yeah, going
Matt,
back to the class story thing for a second, like you said, they wanted to make the leveling game, air quote so to speak, the leveling game in this different than any other MMO, and they did, and nobody's been able to duplicate it since. That's really the strong
I don't
suit.
think anyone ever will. I think we're at the end of the era where something that we invest $200 million into.
Yeah, I believe it's the most, well, it was the most expensive game ever made. I think Destiny has now taken over as #1, but I don't know if SWTOR still holds the record for the most voice lines in the game.
I have no idea. I would guess so, but I couldn't tell you for sure. Mad Gibo wants to know, why does Bioware love operatives so much? Do you have an answer for this?
I would turn that question and say, why does BioWare love bounty hunters so much? Mercs have been OP for a while. I don't think agents or operatives or, you know, the Republic version, they're not as strong as the Mercs are.
I have to say, I feel like class balance is really important for people being able to enjoy the game, so it's important that they invest time in it. But me personally, I could care less. I know I'm never going to do that top potential damage anyway, because I don't spend enough time practicing and researching my rotation. So as long as I can still get through those story mode flashpoints, I could care less.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are actually at the 3-hour mark right now, so I think we're probably
done.
going to be wrapping this up here pretty soon. So anybody have any sort of final questions before we take off for the day?
Thank you all for joining us. This was really fun, and I'm glad you were all able to come. I think this can be the end. Thank you, Kid-Lee, for inviting me to your stream. And once again, if you guys are joining from my channel, make sure to press that follow or subscribe button. It's to show your support for Kid-Lee, for his stream in general, and for him specifically taking the time to plan the stream out and get it all together for us. He did all the technical work. I'm just like calling in.
Well, before we go, is there anything you've got planned for the next week or two as far as content on your channel?
Yes, but I can't talk about it.
Oh, secret stuff, guys. Well, cool. Thank you all very much. Once again, thanks for all of the support for this stream. Thanks to all the new followers. We greatly appreciate everything that was done this morning. And thank you for, thanks to SWTORista for coming out and doing this. This has been Bioware Influencer Q&A number 3. And this will be up on my YouTube channel at some point next week for anybody who missed it and want to go back and watch the whole thing or any of that fun stuff. So yes, thanks to everybody for making this happen.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Have a good day.
So everybody have a fantastic rest of your day or evening wherever you are in the world. The next SWTOR stream here on this channel will most likely be Monday night at probably 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. But yeah, we both have stuff coming out on YouTube over the next several days and weeks ahead, so make sure you check out all that stuff. The last thing I do want to mention is that Carillion Run Radio did an interview with Musco yesterday, and so if you want to check out that interview, here is the link to that. I think you have to go in a couple of minutes before it actually starts. I think they were playing some copyrighted music.
3 minutes, 20 seconds, something like that.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, they were playing some like copyrighted music at the start of the stream, so that's why there's no audio at the start. But yeah, just jump ahead and you should be fine. So yeah, definitely check out that interview. But yep, once again, thank you all so much for watching. Everybody have a fantastic day, and we'll see you guys next time.